The boy stood at the top of the world right after birth. His father was the first man to use divine power. He is known as the original awakener. His magic rating is even as high as 97%. But in the end, Zai chose to become a martial arts awakener. This was simply because people at the time had extremely poor opinions about the magic system. But now, as a martial arts type, he can only watch the magic awakened being adored by the spotlight on TV. It's important to know that the growth of an awakened person usually stops at age 20. Now it's too late for Zai to make any changes. The only work he can do now. He became a human shield in the strategy team. The inexplicable nostalgia I once felt for martial arts scenes. It has long since disappeared with the blows of reality. Fortunately, you occasionally encounter unexpected wealth in the dungeon, although this wealth could possibly pose deadly danger to the awakened at any moment. But this is also the hope that supports the survival of low-level awakeners. Everyone pay attention. We'll be entering in 10 minutes. Zai has a habit before entering each instance. He would take out his phone to look at a photo of himself with his mother. After all, once inside the dungeon, no one knows if they will make it out alive. However, this dungeon seems quite simple. Their opponents are a horde of zombies without powerful skills. What Zai had to do was hold his shield tightly and hold his position. With dazzling spells flashing by, the zombies before him were easily wiped out in an instant. The participants in this instance are the Meteor Guild. Although they were founded not long ago, their reputation has long since grown. Given the situation, Zixuan felt he should be able to make it out alive. Soon, only the final big boss remained in the dungeon. Taking advantage of his break, Zixuan wanted to see what he'd gained so far. It was then that the system panel showed garbled text for the first time. What followed was a piercing pain. It turned out that the Asura god system, which humans depended on for survival, had been paralyzed. It was as if Zixuan heard someone telling him to follow Guangliu. At this moment, the Asura system kept sending out prompts. It turns out the Asura god system has been infiltrated by an unknown alien. Zixuan was still curious whether this alien was the sound he heard. When he turned around, he saw countless points of light mysteriously appearing around him, and no one but him saw these anomalies. These points of light seemed to exist only for Zixuan, so Zixuan decided to follow the light spot to find out. Along the way, he tried countless times to awaken the Asura god system. Unfortunately, the Arthur system remained paralyzed throughout. Such a thing had never happened in 17 years. That year, a towering tree suddenly grew in the Pacific Ocean. In just 9 days, it grew to the point of blotting out the sun, and that tree is the world tree from mythology. On the 9th day after the tree matured, numerous monsters appeared around the world, bringing unprecedented disasters to humanity. Half of the world's humanity lost their lives as a result. Later, half of the survivors died from famine and disease. It was at this time that the Asura god system appeared, granting people divine powers and turning humans into awakened beings. This is what allowed human civilization to survive. The Asura god system, which humanity depends on, suddenly collapses. The mysterious voice led Yihayan to follow the light point, and at the end of these points of light stood a simple, ancient door. Zixuan guessed this might be the legendary treasure gate. Rumor has it this only appears in high-level dungeons. Behind it lies a room filled with countless treasures. For Zixuan, this was his only chance to change his life. With a heart full of anxiety, he pushed open the door. But there are no endless treasures here as rumored. The only thing in the room was the ball placed in the center. Naturally, Zixuan didn't want to give up this chance to change his fate. Without hesitation, he reached out to grab the ball. The moment Zixuan touched the orb, the Arthur god system was fixed. It turned out to be the mythical item, Odin's lost eye. It can not only break down and disrupt the calculation of magic, it can also easily copy others' skills. And so far, the highest level item has only been S-rank. A mythic level Odin's lost eye is enough to keep Zixuan worry-free for the rest of his life. He had considered keeping it for himself, but after age 20 you can't level up, and even if you use it, it won't be very effective. Since he had already obtained the treasure, Zixuan was ready to return. When he returned, he found everyone was waiting for him. This time, Zixuan completely kept his inner dissatisfaction bottled up, because once people found out, he got something good in the dungeon. All that awaits Zixuan is death. Fortunately, this time he managed to fool him. What he needs to do now is not let anyone doubt his departure. But just before the final battle began, an unexpected event occurred. Huge boulders kept crashing into the group inside the cave. What followed was a vast and eerie mist of poison. Many fragile mages collapsed directly into the poisonous mist. Zixuan also wanted to quickly remind everyone to evacuate from the poisonous fog, but the man before him was suddenly pierced by a sword. Zixuan realized that there must be enemies hidden in the poisonous mist. Without hesitation, he immediately fled from here. After finally obtaining the mythic item, Zixuan definitely didn't want to lose his life here. The next second, a chain of lightning brushed past him. The aftershock of the explosion completely blocked his path. Zixuan couldn't help but wonder who this person really was. "I knew you'd survive, bro." Zixuan didn't expect Zhang Yuning to ambush everyone. It's worth noting that Zhang Yuming has always been Zixuan's manager. As an A-level magic awakener. Zhang Yuming helped Zixuan find many good jobs. Of course, this dungeon mission was also included. I told you before, didn't I? I will come to see you today. Did you do all of this? You spread the poison and attacked the Meteor Guild. That's right, I made all of this, but all of this was done by my client. Many people have always disliked the Meteor Guild. They look down on other guilds so much. How could they not attract hatred? Zhang Yuning, I'll just pretend I didn't see any of this today. But before he finished speaking, the lightning chains attacked him again. This time, my target for the attack isn't just the Meteor Guild. Brokers who offer work for men. It turns out to be an assassin sent to kill the man. With the strength of a martial combat system at the Xuan Emperor level, he was definitely no match for Zhang Yuning's secret magic system. If he had reacted a bit slower just now, he would definitely have been killed by Zhang Yuning. But Zhang Yuning had no intention of letting him off. 3 lightning chains attacked Zixuan again. Fortunately, Zixuan dodged again using his martial arts skills. He couldn't help but wonder who he had offended before. He actually sent an A-rank magic awakener to kill him. Suddenly, a familiar figure appeared in Zixuan's mind. Did my father send you here? Hearing this, Zhang Yuming was clearly taken aback. For a moment, he forgot to attack Zixuan, who was still standing there. Zhang Yuming stood there, trembling uncontrollably. In the end, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. Brother's reaction was really quick. That's exactly what I like about you. Zixuan couldn't help but think of his mother in the photo. Let me ask you one last question. 5 winters ago, did he entrust you with the same task? I didn't expect you to guess even this. That's impressive. I really can't understand why a father would kill his own wife first. This time, he wants to get rid of his own brother again. You also think this is going too far. But it was already like this. Take care of yourself, bro. On his deathbed, Zixuan used Odin's lost eye. A powerful dazzling light appeared before Zhang Yuming's eyes. He noticed that the magic on Zixuan was continuously rising. To avoid any accidents, Zhang Yuming decided to stop playing. This time, the lightning chains flew toward Zixuan at incredible speed, just as Zixuan was about to be struck by the lightning chains. But Zhang Yuming's lightning chains suddenly vanished. For a moment, Zhang Yuming's eyes widened in shock, standing there in shock. It turned out that just now, Zixuan had equipped Odin's lost eye. He also used a blank card to replicate the lightning chain. Zhang Yuning, I will make sure you die in as much pain as possible. As soon as he finished speaking, 6 lightning chains appeared behind Zixuan. It should be noted that this skill was something Zhang Yuning spent a lot of time learning to learn. But now, it was easily mastered by a D-level martial arts fighter. He even suppressed Zhang Yuning, who was an A-rank magic type in battle. Every lightning chain Zhang Yuming used will be destroyed by Zixuan using absolute eye calculations. But Zhang Yuming couldn't dodge the lightning chains Zixuan used. He could only use a magical shield to block Zixuan's assault. At that moment, Zixuan once again activated his absolute eye calculations. Lost the protection of the magic shield. Zhang Yuming could no longer withstand the attacks of the lightning chains. After taking out Zhang Yuning, Zixuan also collapsed to the ground. The battle had drained all his stamina and magic. The mythic level item he had finally obtained was now meant to leave this world with him. But just then, the new operating system download was completed. He gave Zixuan a chance to travel back in time. Now Zixuan had no choice but to run the system. And so, the Norn system began operating. In a daze, Zixuan seemed to see an angel. They chanted a kind of magic as they slowly reached out their hands toward Zixuan. Without hesitation, Zixuan reached out and held the angel's hand. At that moment, the Norn system notified Zixuan that he had become the greatest enemy of the Aesir gods. A man as a father. First, he sent people to kill his own wife. He also sent people to deal with his own son. Fortunately, Zixuan equipped Odin's lost eye in time. This was the counterattack on Zhang Yuming. To gain hope of survival, he changed the Asura god system to the Norn system. But at the same time, they became the greatest enemies of the Aesir. When Zixuan opened his eyes, he was already back in a familiar place. He suddenly stood up and began to observe his surroundings, until she saw the photo of herself and her mother on the desk. Zixuan wasn't sure if it was all just a dream, but even though everything before his eyes was a dream he had before he died, Zixuan is also willing to stay in this dream forever, because here lived his mother who had long since passed away. However, his physical abilities have only recovered to 20%. The first task given by the Norn system is to restore his health to 80%. The reward is a blank card. What Zixuan needed to do now was first confirm the time he was in. The moment he got the calendar, Zixuan smiled, because he returned to the day before filling out his application. This time, he definitely wouldn't make the same mistake as last time. When it was time to eat, Zixuan still couldn't hold back the tears in his eyes. Scenes that had appeared countless times in his dreams were now truly happening before his eyes. However, his mother was very worried that Zixuan might be facing some kind of distress. The originally dull child cried so sadly as he was about to leave in the morning, so his mother was very curious whether Zixuan was troubled by something. No, I just had a nightmare while sleeping. A nightmare Zixuan never wanted to see again. Mom, actually, there's something I've always wanted to tell you. I want to change my major to the Department of Magic. You have to know, Zixuan had always insisted insisted on choosing the martial arts department. But his mother knew he would never joke about such things. Do it your own way. Rather than earning money, Mom hopes you do what you want to do. Whether it's a magician or anything else, Mom will always support you. Zixuan knew now was not the time to cry. He must take revenge on his A-level awakened father. So he had to hurry to complete the tasks given to him by the Norn system. After completing the task, Zixuan also received a blank card. His current advantage is knowing some hidden levels and exclusive marks. However, Zixuan's current skills are still all martial arts types. He decided to check his system panel first. Now Zixuan's level has returned to level 7, and his attributes have been reset. But he was curious why his passive skill wasn't initialized. It turned out that because of the effect of the person attracting God's attention, Zixuan's passive skill from before transmigration was retained. Moreover, every time he leveled up, all attributes increased by 1 point. But the other skill, Zixuan, couldn't understand its effect. Zixuan decided to allocate his points first. While the importance of magic is undeniable for mages, endurance is even more important. Although stamina doesn't directly boost combat power, it can slow down fatigue. Next, Zixuan had to consider which skill to learn. Now, even with powerful attack skills, the magic power prevented the skills from taking effect. Moreover, the status of magic-type awakeners is now very low, so the best choice is to learn a healing skill. Men have the ability to copy the skills of others. No matter how powerful the skill, he could learn it instantly. But Zixuan didn't want world-shattering magic. Instead, he planned to learn a healing skill. It turned out his current stats were insufficient to support high-level magic, and now the status of mages is very low. If he learns healing skills, no matter where he goes, he won't be underestimated. But the biggest problem now is finding a healing-type awakener. Just then, Zixuan's phone rang. He couldn't help but wonder who would call him at this time. The moment he picked up the phone, Zixuan was stunned. It turned out the person calling him was his childhood friend Jin Yaoking. They grew up together and were admitted to Mille College together. All of them dream of becoming hunters, but later, Kim Yaoking died in Yihyun's arms. Fortunately, this time Zixuan had the chance to change everything. Jin Yaoking called because she wanted Zixuan to accompany her to see the Saintess. It should be noted that Saintess Liu Xing'an is currently the strongest healing-type awakener. Her most iconic magic is the trap. Since there was such a figure, Zixuan didn't need to look for other healing-type awakeners. After greeting his mom, Zixuan set off immediately. Meanwhile, Liu Xing'an was sitting in a Rolls-Royce, heading to the event venue. Zinkai kept persuading Liu Xing'an to cut back on unnecessary trips along the way, because the sacrifice did not consume Liu Xing'an's magic, but her vitality. If he continued to participate in these unnecessary activities, Liu Xing'an might soon collapse, unless you can find someone else who can use sacrificial magic. Before long, the two were already seated in the venue, waiting for Liu Xing'an to arrive. Hello everyone, I'm Liu Xing'an. Now the whole world is facing unprecedented disasters. The appearance of Yggdrasil and the monsters claimed many lives. Currently, less than 20% of awakened individuals are willing to become predators, but the number of deaths is several times higher than that. The world remains at a crossroads of life and death, and countless innocent people are now facing death. What we need now is courage. The courage of the awakened worldwide is enough to change the world. We encourage everyone to enthusiastically register to become observers and restore the world to light. For a better tomorrow, the Lotus Union and I will fully support you all. After the speech, Zixuan found an excuse to part ways with Jin Yaoking. It turned out he wanted to take the opportunity to get close to Liu Xing'an. After searching, Zixuan saw Liu Xing'an's car. I am here to meet Chairman Liu Xing'an. Zinkai thought Zixuan was a passionate fan, obsessed with the practitioner, so he thought he could say a few words and send him away. I'm not a diehard fan of his. I know Chairman Liu Xing'an is currently suffering from an incurable disease, and only I can cure him. As soon as he finished speaking, Zinkai picked up Zixuan and told me where he found out about all this. At that moment, Liu Xing'an's car window opened. Can you take responsibility for what you just said? The world's most powerful healing awakener. However, he was terminally ill and did not live long, simply because she possesses the strongest healing skill, sacrifice. This skill consumes not mana but vitality. But at this point, Zixuan said he could cure Liu Xing'an's illness. Seeing Zixuan's confident expression, Liu Xing'an decided to trust him for now. This time you get in the car first. There are a lot of people here, so we'll go somewhere quiet. Soon, Zixuan was taken to the Lotus Guild's meeting room. How did you know I was terminally ill? I can't tell you this, but if you really want to know, I can say it. But if I say it, I don't intend to treat you anymore. He really is a shrewd child. Next question, how do you plan to treat me? I intend to copy your sacrificial skills, Chairman. Hearing Zixuan's words, Liu Xing'an was stunned. Chairman, please stop listening to his nonsense. Do you even know what a skill sacrifice is? You're just spouting nonsense here. It turns out that sacrifice is Liu Xing'an's exclusive skill. This skill cannot be copied and can only be passed down through bloodline. If I didn't have the ability, I wouldn't have come looking for you either. You mean to heal me with my sacrificial skill? Since you've come to this extent, prove it to me. As soon as he finished speaking, Liu Xing'an directly used the sacrifice. sacrifice. Without hesitation, Zixuan immediately used a blank card to copy the skill. You probably don't believe me yet, so I must first gain your trust. Saying that, Zixuan used the trap he had just copied. Since it was obtained with a blank card, the side effects of the skill sacrifice did not affect Zixuan. For a moment, both Liu Xingyan and Xingkai were stunned. All right, now it's time for us to sit down and have a proper talk. What do you want to get from our union? Just by being able to treat Liu Xingyan, Zixuan was enough to stand on equal footing with her. I would like to ask you to be my sponsor. If you have the courage to make such a request, it means you have investment value, and you really are very capable. But I also have one condition. My illness is a personal matter and has nothing to do with the Lotus Labor Union. However, what you want is not just my support, but the support of the entire Lotus Union. We won't help you without reason unless you join the Lotus Guild. Zixuan thought Liu Xingyan would impose some restrictions, but unexpectedly, he was invited to join the union. Don't worry, I'm not the type to joke about things like this. I invite you to join our union for the following reasons. First, you know that I, the chairman of the Lotus Labor Union, suffer from a chronic illness. Without extremely strong intelligence-gathering skills, you cannot know such classified information. Second, you can perfectly copy my sacrifice skill. So far, no one has ever copied an exclusive skill. Your future holds endless possibilities. Third, you're not nervous at all in front of me now. A child who can stand in front of the president of the Lotus Union without any nervousness. It really makes me feel you're very charming. I don't know if my reasons for recruiting you are enough. In his previous life, the Lotus Labor Union was the strongest union in the country. But after Liu Xingyan fell critically ill, it quickly collapsed for certain reasons. But with Zixuan's help, he believed none of this would have happened. Beloved by thousands and known as the Saintess, Ryu Xiangyun is admired by many. At this moment, she was willing to sell her looks just to invite Zixuan to join the guild. Because Zixuan can perfectly copy others' exclusive skills, it can also cure Liu Xingyan's stubborn illness. However, signing a union contract with a student is illegal. Have you heard of the right of first refusal? Just give me the address, and I'll deliver the contract to your home right away. Think it over carefully before making a decision. Then I'll treat you first. Saying that, Zixuan stood behind Liu Xingyan. At this moment, Xingkai was extremely nervous inside. For Liu Xingyan's illness, he had already recruited countless healing-type awakeners. Even those who have devoted their lives to studying medicine are at a loss for what to do. Now he could only pin his last hopes on Zixuan. To his surprise, Liu Xingyan's condition visibly improved. I'm really sorry about what just happened, Chairman. I'm counting on you. It's okay. If I were you, I wouldn't believe a child's words. I will sincerely apologize to you again for my previous unreasonable actions. After the treatment ended, Zixuan's passive emergency healing skill also reached level 19. Under their watchful eyes, Liu Xingyan slowly approached the window. The illness that had troubled me for years truly disappeared. Thank you, but after curing me, you should be affected by side effects. I'm fine. Chairman, you can treat me then. Of course, I can treat you anytime. This is my business card, and I will do my best to meet all your requirements. I also hope you will carefully consider the conditions I just mentioned. I do have something I want to ask the chairman for now. Early the next morning, Xingkai drove to pick up Zixuan. It turned out Zixuan hoped to use the low-level dungeons of the Lotus Guild to level up. Because Murai's Academy is a place that gathers countless geniuses, upgrading to survive there is inevitable. For this campaign, the Lotus Guild prepared a lot of supplies for Zixuan, but due to time constraints, he could only temporarily provide some surplus union equipment. However, Xingkai has always been worried about Zixuan's safety. Although it's only a level 1 dungeon, it's still very dangerous for Zixuan to go in alone. Don't worry, I just want to level up. With no other choice, Xingkai had to open his own belongings. Holding this one ensures your safety. After smashing it, you can immediately return to the guild entrance. If you encounter danger, just use it immediately. Please accept it. Consider it an apology for my rudeness yesterday. Also, this is a token of appreciation. Thank you for curing the chairman. After Xingkai said so much, Zixuan couldn't refuse any further. Judging by the magic I felt, this really is a level 1 dungeon. This level is completely no problem for Zixuan. Always remember to use teleport stones first thing when danger arises. But the moment Zixuan stepped into the dungeon, he sensed the change in the surrounding magical energy. Due to the influence of the Norn system, Zixuan was teleported to the domain of the dead in the Heim underworld. Women are originally saints untouched by the mundane world. But because she sat on the man's lap for a moment, Liu Xingyan could never forget that feeling. It was the first time she began to miss a man. Whenever she thought of Zixuan, she couldn't help but smile. Just then, her secretary Park Shauna arrived. All of Zixuan's personal information is here. After receiving the materials, Liu Xingyan began to slowly flip through them. She was soon startled by the information in front of her. Zixuan, who can wield such powerful magic, actually chose to be a martial arts department. Soon, Liu Xingyan was completely stunned. She even began to doubt the authenticity of this document, because Zixuan's magic rating reached as high as 97%. Once Zixuan comes out, tell him immediately. He insisted he come see me at least once. I want to personally witness the child's true talent. Meanwhile, Zixuan was teleported to the domain of the dead by the Norn system. The scene before him told him this was definitely not a level 1 dungeon. Just as Zexuan was checking the surroundings, the black-robed figure hidden in the mist slowly raised his bow and arrow. The next second, a black arrow flew straight toward Zexuan. Hearing the noise, Zexuan quickly turned his head to dodge the attack. He immediately looked in the direction the arrow had come from. The black-robed man slowly drew an arrow from his quiver. He raised his bow and aimed at Zexuan again. Before the arrow could be shot, Zexuan immediately used the sacrifice to heal his wounds. But at that moment, a hand reached out from the soil. Moreover, at some point, a ghost had appeared behind Zexuan. Suddenly, 3 completely different monsters appeared before him. At that moment, the black-robed man's arrow flew straight toward him. This time, Zexuan easily gripped the sword. However, defeating these monsters before him is no easy task, although sacrifice is highly lethal against undead creatures. But if the sacrifice level is too high, it consumes a large amount of mana. If he encounters higher-level monsters later, Zexuan's situation will be very dangerous, so he had to rely on his previous life's martial arts experience to fight. Moreover, Zexuan knew very little about magicians. These enemies before him could serve as training targets. It seems to be due to the rank. Zexuan found these monsters not too difficult to deal with. Even with his current strength, he could still handle it with ease. He simply grabbed his staff and charged straight ahead. It suddenly slammed into the black-robed man's forehead. But it was this attack that completely broke Zexuan's staff. At that moment, the scythe ghost and the ghoul swordsman charged over together. With no other choice, Zexuan could only use sacrifices to attack them. In almost an instant, the 2 monsters were annihilated by the holy light. Meanwhile, Zexuan collapsed to the ground due to excessive mana consumption. If it weren't for the recent upgrade, Zexuan's current situation would be extremely dangerous. He knew very well that his strength was still insufficient to clear this dungeon. Just as he was about to teleport away, suddenly he felt a chill run through him. Zexuan could feel something approaching him. This terrifying aura was so intense it made it hard for him to breathe. He hurriedly stabbed his own thigh with his staff, hoping to regain a glimmer of clarity. It was then that he saw a shadow suddenly appear on the ground. The man was just taking on a regular level 1 dungeon. Unexpectedly, he was teleported to the domain of kings in the Heim underworld. The monster inside stood only behind Zexuan. It can make him breathless out of fear. Standing before the night ghost, he didn't even have the chance to use the teleportation stone. Zexuan could only close his eyes and accept his fate. But when he opened his eyes again, he found time had stopped. No, I personally brought that kid here. He was a distinguished guest, chosen by fate to be the child of a rebel. Zexuan was very curious about who the woman in front of him was. The person who could take down the other rebels was just a rookie. The bones are ordinary, but the magic power is decent. But he was still far from making enemies of the Asir gods. I really don't understand why Loki would choose a kid like you. Due to excessive blood loss, Zexuan's consciousness was gradually becoming blurred. But he hadn't finished his revenge yet, so he absolutely couldn't fall here. I'm quite satisfied with your gaze, but you're still too weak, and time is running out. You need to get stronger even faster, and if you can't, before hell comes again, I will destroy you first. It's very important to us, so I can give you another chance. Hurry up and become stronger, even stronger than you are now. Defeat the shadow ghost before you again. If you do, I'll give you a fantastic gift, but I'll only give you 2 months. If you can't do it, you know what the consequences are. Thus, Zexuan was forced to accept Hell's mission. You must remember, if you can't let me see your growth during this time, I will personally send you to the underworld. Wishing you good luck, child chosen by Norns. When Zexuan opened his eyes again, he was already back at the entrance of the instance. His injuries miraculously healed, but the mission in the Norn system tells him that everything that just happened was real, and the woman he had just met was none other than Hell, the goddess of death who ruled over the 9 worlds. However, Zexuan was completely at a loss for what Hell said, but the only thing certain is that he must seize the moment to become stronger. If what Hell just said was true, so when Zexuan stopped, he would be killed without hesitation. Defeating the shadow ghost within 2 months is no easy feat. Now, Zexuan wasn't even familiar with the fighting style of a maid. The best way to lay a solid foundation is to get help from Liu Xingen. But at that moment, Xingkai arranged to meet Liu Xingen the next day. Early the next morning, Xingkai brought Zexuan to the Lotus Labor Union. Zexuan guessed they might have seen his own awakening evaluation form. Despite having exceptional magical talent, she chose martial arts as her choice. This is all because TV stations have been heavily praising the martial arts department, while the magic department is being belittled as worthless. Soon, the two arrived at the Lotus Guild's training ground. The moment he saw Liu Xingen, Zexuan was stunned. "You finally came. I've been waiting for you for a long time." The Saintess Liu Xingen was exceedingly dignified in front of others. To win over Zexuan, she voluntarily changed into a hot outfit. "You finally came. I've been waiting for you for a long time. As for the contract terms, I think the terms I offered should be pretty good. You have to know, the terms Liu Xingen gave Zexuan were all favorable to him, and the treatment is almost exclusive to a level or above curiosity seekers. I just told the new financial manager that before signing with you, I have one more request. It's okay, if you have any other requests, just say them. Before I made this request, I believe you had already seen my personal information. It's been less than a month since I transferred from martial arts to magic, so I'm still not very skilled at how to use magic. Chairman Liu Xingen, I hope you can personally teach me magic. You have to know, Liu Xingen is one of the few S-level practitioners in the world. Xingkai hadn't expected Zixuan to dare to make such a request. If you can accept my terms, I will sign a contract with the Lotus Union for priority negotiation. That's quite an interesting request. I can agree to your request. After all, I'm very interested in you. But before that, I want to confirm your talent. You don't mind, right? But this was actually something Zixuan expected. After all, with such favorable terms, the Lotus Guild would definitely test his strength first. But Xingkai, standing nearby, saw his intention from Liu Xingen's expression. Liu Xingen silently snapped his fingers. A vast magical power surged from behind her. As you can see, this is the magic cube. From now on, you need to tackle this. Keep in mind, the magic cube is usually for magic series users of rank B or above, and is only used to gauge magic resonance. And less than 7% of people can conquer it. So isn't that just the right time to showcase your strength? If you're a talent worthy of the Lotus Union's right of first refusal, you should at least reach this level, right? From what you mean, you want to dampen my spirit. Why should I do this? Even if you fail, I will sign a contract with you, and the terms in the contract will not change. I guarantee you in the name of the Lotus Guild President. Xingkai, can you help me get ready? Chairman, the magic cube is a device that most magic-type practitioners find hard to master, let alone the immature Min Zixuan. Do you think the child in front of us is an ordinary person? Don't worry, he's worth a try. And so Xin finally opened the magic cube for Zixuan. Although Zixuan had heard of the magic cube in his previous life, but when he actually saw it, he was still quite shocked. If you're ready, get started. Looking forward to your great results. Under the watchful eyes of the two, Zixuan slowly walked into the magic cube. Actually, I was still a bit worried. I completely understand your curiosity about him, Chairman, but after all, he's just a child. Believe me, that child can definitely do it. Why are you so sure? Maybe that's just a woman's intuition. Let's see how long it actually takes you. Only then can you escape from the magic cube. The magic cube has only a 7% pass rate. Inside, it was actually a vast sea formed from gathering magical power. Although mana is an essential element when using skills, if you stay in places with excessive mana concentration for a long time, cardiopulmonary function can rapidly decline and even lead to death. And there was only one way out of here, through countless whirlpools. Find the only door that connects to the outside world. Zixuan calmed himself and began to sense the magical fluctuations around him. He sensed something unusual in the vortex before him. As he approached the vortex, he realized it was actually a crystal, and it seemed to carry all the magical power within the great ocean. Judging by your expression, it seems like Zixuan will definitely come out of the cube. So how long do you think it will take? I had previously spent 40 minutes, which is already the fastest speed in the country. So now there are only two possibilities. The first is that he cannot escape the magic cube. The other is that he will set new records. Besides, I don't think Zixuan would crawl out of it sickly. But the next second, Liu Xingen's eyes widened. Xingkai, look over there. Hearing this, Xingkai quickly looked toward the magic cube. It turned out the magic cube was already showing signs of collapse. For a moment, the two of them outside looked at each other in confusion, because it had only been 10 minutes since Zixuan went in. They were very curious about what exactly happened inside Zixuan. It turned out that after Zixuan discovered that crystal, he was convinced that this was the key to clearing the magic cube, so he immediately held the crystal in his hand. As the crystal in his hand was crushed, this sea made of magical power shattered as well. Zixuan also gained a new passive skill, the essence of using mana, but this scene shocked the two outside, because the escape rate of the magic cube is only 7%. Moreover, it takes them more than 3 hours on average to get out of it. Back then, S-level Liu Xingen also spent nearly 40 minutes. Even Karami, who passed the magic cube fastest, took 36 minutes. Now that record has been broken by Zixuan. It was even 26 minutes faster than the world record. Amazing, you only managed to do it in 10 minutes. Min Zixuan, I want to ask you a question. How did you manage to escape from the magic cube so quickly? I found a crystal in the cube, and after breaking it, it came out. What do you mean, Shatter? Did you break that crystal? You have to know, that crystal contains all the magical power inside the cube. Ordinary awakened ones simply cannot find it, let alone break it. This meant that the magical power inside Zixuan was even stronger than the magic crystal. Min Zixuan, congratulations on passing the test. From today onward, I will stake the name of the Lotus Union, and my name Liu Xinen. I will definitely train you to become the most powerful magician. Are you ready? The scene shifts to Jin, Yaoqing waiting for Zixuan's mother to come home. At that moment, a Rolls-Royce slowly appeared before the two of them. The next second, Zixuan stepped out of the car. For a moment, the two of them couldn't believe their eyes. They even speculated whether Zixuan was being kept by a wealthy woman, all because the boy used his skills to cure the rich woman's chronic illness. This made Liu Xingen rediscover discover the joy of being human. At this age, Zixuan drove into a Rolls-Royce. Every trip is accompanied by an A-level awakener, but Zixuan's recent unusual behavior. But this aroused Jin Yaoking's suspicion. Besides getting out of the mysterious luxury car, Zixuan also gave up his martial arts dream. Although Zixuan explained that he switched to the magic department because he wasn't suited for the martial arts class. But Jin Yaoking, who was already familiar with Zixuan, didn't believe any of this. You have to know, Zixuan originally chose the martial arts major because he didn't want his mother to suffer. Enough, let's not bring this up again. By the way, why did you come to my house? Did your parents go on a business trip again? That's why I came to hang out with you. Auntie said I should stay here for one night before leaving. It's worth noting that Jin Yaoking is a bona fide rich second generation. Her parents sell Warcraft products to various countries, so they often travel overseas for work. And because of this, Jin Yaoking is often home alone. Because Zixuan's mother had a good relationship with her parents, Jin Yaoking often stayed at Zixuan's house. Why not take this opportunity to teach me some magical theories? Do you want me to teach you for free? Whatever you want, say it first, then I'll decide if you can agree. Honestly, I haven't decided yet about it. Or could you help me make a wish come true? No matter what wishes I make, you have to help me fulfill them. I understand, but the promise is valid for 1 year. If you don't make a wish within 1 year, it's void. Stingy guy, so be it. It turns out Jin Yaoking doesn't have a very good memory. If it had been a year, Zixuan believed she would definitely have forgot. Seeing Zixuan's mischievous smile, Jin Yaoking grabbed a nearby pillow and threw it at him. In the past, Zixuan would have fought back without hesitation, but after going through so much, his current life feels incredibly warm to him. Meanwhile, a powerful predator is targeting his parents. The corpses of monsters were already piled high before him, and this man was none other than Zixuan's father, Li Cheng. Thanks to you, we were able to easily conquer this monster. It's been a long time since he took down a monster so easily. If you can join our union, we will definitely become stronger. Would you consider joining our union? If it were you, our new Red Labor Union would definitely give you the best treatment. But the next second, the man sensed a terrifying aura emanating from Min Cheng. Min Cheng slowly turned his head, his eyes filled only with emptiness. Meanwhile, men are tightly bound by invisible chains, filthy, shameless, and filled with despicable greed. It must be said this is human nature. No, it's not just humans. After Min Chengao disappeared, the man lost all his memories from just now. The boy's first day, after signing the care agreement, Liu Xingen was about to test Zixuan's sensitivity. The test was conducted in real combat with Liu Xingen. Starting out in real combat is just too difficult. This probably shouldn't come out of your mouth, but you can escape from the Rubik's Cube in 10 minutes. Come on, launch an attack on me. Zixuan said nothing and immediately took on a fighting stance. Liu Xingen immediately recognized this as the most standard martial arts stance. Zixuan suddenly threw a punch forward. Unexpectedly, Liu Xingen easily caught this punch. Zixuan hadn't expected his offensive to fail. You have to know, Liu Xingen is a practitioner of magic. Seeing his first strike fail, Zixuan quickly put some distance between them. It seems you still haven't figured out some things. You are no longer the warrior of the martial arts class you once was. How could a magician just jump at him without any plan? What do you think is the biggest difference between the martial arts and magic classes? Martial arts focus on close-range attacks, while magic classes focus on ranged attacks. That's right, generally, magic practitioners weaken enemies from a distance first. Then they engage in battle, which is the most traditional way of fighting. But you always want to get close to enemies, which causes mages with weaker defense to fall quickly. What you need now is experience as a wizard. From now on, I will also attack you, but don't worry, I won't let you get seriously hurt. Besides, I'm a healer. I know those things just now weren't your true strength. Now let me see your true skills. Before he finished speaking, Liu Xingen's assault was already heading straight at Zixuan. Fortunately, Zixuan relies on instinct to dodge the attack. Alright, now it's your turn to attack. Suddenly, a flash of lightning appeared beside Zixuan. In an instant, 3 lightning chains flew toward Liu Xingen. In contrast, Liu Xingen remained standing firm, unmoved. At this distance, Liu Xingen definitely couldn't dodge this attack, so it's an A-rank lightning chain. You really are hiding your true strength. The next second, Liu Xingen's offensive was already right in front of Zixuan. No matter how skilled a skill is, if it doesn't suit you, it is meaningless. But you really surprised me, although I deliberately reduced the power of the skill. But I didn't expect you to still be able to stand. Can you still withstand this move? In Liu Xingen's view, Zixuan's current state definitely couldn't dodge his attacks. But to achieve the teaching goal, he still unhesitatingly released the skill. Unexpectedly, Liu Xingen's sacred bow and arrow vanished in midair. The only explanation is that Zixuan calculated and destroyed his magic in such a short time. You really always surprise me. How many more surprises are waiting for me? I can't say for sure. Before he finished speaking, a lightning chain suddenly shot out from underground. Fortunately, Liu Xingen opened the protective shield in time and managed to block it. But even so, Liu Xingen's hand was still trembling uncontrollably. But before she could fight back, several lightning chains appeared behind Zixuan again. Only then did Liu Xingen realize that Zixuan seemed to be able to cast skills without using a spell. The boy can freely cast skills without casting spells. A single glance could disable the magic of an S-rank awaken. You have to understand, this is not something a novice mage can do, but the magical power inside Zixuan's body was already almost depleted. You really are exceptionally gifted. It's just a pity you're still too inexperienced. Before Zixuan could figure out what was happening, he was already lying on the ground. You don't think you can beat me, do you? That said, Liu Xing'an still pulled Zixuan up from the ground right away. After this battle, Zixuan realized the gap between himself and S-Class. However, Liu Xing'an saw infinite possibilities in Zixuan. Your fighting style just gave me an idea. A story everyone has considered, but no one has been able to realize. Only the combat methods you can use. From now on, call me teacher. Congratulations on becoming my first disciple. After returning home, Zixuan still couldn't forget today's battle. Hello, Min Jaihin. Are you even listening to me? If you keep acting like this, I won't give you tutoring. Now that you've snapped out of it, let's get to the main topic. There are many types of magic, but only 3 are the most important. Attack magic, buff magic, and healing magic. As Zixuan's understanding of magic improved, the Norn system kept sending pop-up reminders to him. It felt like the system was urging Zixuan to grow up quickly. You're really impressive. Magic that takes others a month to learn, you'll master in just 2 days. What's the big deal? You learned it in just 3 days. Your growth rate really makes me anxious. Little did they know, Zixuan was actually more anxious than Jin Yaoqing now, because he had already bet his life on the goddess of death. Do you know how surprised I was when you wanted to go to the martial arts department? Even if magic isn't that profitable, but you can't ignore such a high level of matching. In an instant, countless chains seemed to appear before Zixuan's eyes. Then a man slowly appeared behind him. The man walked step by step up to Zixuan. Then he lowered his head and whispered something into Zixuan's ear. By the way, you probably also practice practical skills. While dealing with Jin Yaoqing, Zixuan recalled everything that had just happened. He wasn't sure if what had just happened was just his imagination. He seemed to hear some strange sounds. However, Zixuan didn't have time to deal with these matters right now, since he only had 2 months. Unless he could obtain the magic cure to break this situation. The scene shifted. Xing Kai was inspecting the Lotus Guild's training ground. His task is to identify problems with newcomers and help them correct them in time. Seeing Liu Xing'an arrive, Xing Kai went over to report on today's training. However, Liu Xing'an always seemed distracted. You must be thinking about Zixuan, right? Nothing can be hidden from you. If I remember correctly, Chairman, what you want to give Zixuan. Many practitioners have challenged it, but no one has ever succeeded. You should have seen Zixuan's talent by now. If a new S-rank practitioner appears in the magic department in the future, I believe that person must be Zixuan. He will bring earth-shaking changes to the magic department, creates pills that can increase magical power. Li Zixing, the genius alchemist who saved all humanity, he actually chose to unconditionally disclose the formula for the pill, all to bring more help to practitioners worldwide. But even such selfless dedication. But during her student years, she suffered endless humiliation. It turned out that the pill would only be produced by Li Zixing 5 years later. Although Zixuan already knew the formula, but what he made by following the steps was essentially poison. With no other choice, Zixuan had to go see the current Li Zixing. His talent might even allow him to create pills ahead of time. Based on the current timeline, Li Zixing should still be a first-year student at Murai's Academy. Zixuan then prepared to head to Murai's Academy overnight. Where are you going? Please give me a ticket to City D. Due to the rampant beast of Warcraft, the city is currently under lockdown. Monsters spread throughout the city, and the moment they entered, their lives were in danger. And for those who still need to go to the city at this time, there is only one reason. This person is a student at Murai's Academy. Before long, Zixuan had arrived at Murai's Academy. After many years, he strolled back through the campus of the past, but Zixuan felt no trace of nostalgia, because this place brought endless pain to Zixuan during his youth. But the main task now is still to find Li Zixing first. Li Zixing's father was the nation's first S-level practitioner. Under his father's aura, he has always been highly anticipated by people. As a result, Li Zixing was assigned to the martial arts department, but his skills were not outstanding. Therefore, Li Zixing, who hates fighting, probably won't show up at the training ground. Just as Zixuan was about to go to the classroom to try his luck, suddenly he heard a commotion nearby. From the onlookers, it was learned that a stutterer was being bullied at school. Recalling his former self, Zixuan decided to wade into this mess. With a little force, he squeezed right into the crowd gathered around him. Without a moment's hesitation, Zixuan opened the door in front of him. At that moment, someone bumped into Zixuan. Seeing that he had bumped into someone, Jieba quickly apologized to Zixuan, who came to see our little stutterer. Did something come up? And the man mentioned the stutter was none other than Li Zixing. Brother, are you all right? Li Yihyang was very curious about who the person in front of him was. I still didn't know that the stutterer had a younger brother, and you two don't look alike at all. I've never heard him mention his family. I thought his family had all been slaughtered by the beasts. Before he finished speaking, Zixuan slapped Huang Mao's hand away. I think you'd better go to the infirmary first. Didn't you see me talking to the little stutterer. This is the second time you've met me, right? Why have I been getting grabbed by the collar so much lately? Xuan began to recall the magic theories Jin Yaoqing had taught him. Then, following the way Liu Xing'an cast his skill in his mind, in an instant, the holy bow and arrow struck straight at Huang Mao. Feeling pain, the blonde man immediately swung his sword at Xuan. But the next second, the sword was sent flying straight away. It turned out that Xuan had just used a magical stance. Before the blonde guy could react, Xuan grabbed his face. It's about time to end now. Then the blonde was knocked unconscious by the holy bow and arrow. The boy beat the blonde hair until he could no longer take care of himself. But then he turned and took out some medicine to treat him. The moment he saw the potion, Li Zhexiang panicked. As the potion was poured onto the blonde face, his injuries visibly improved. We should head to the infirmary now. That said, Yi Haiyan was heading in a different direction from the infirmary. There probably isn't anyone around here. No matter what we say, no one will hear. Li Zhexiang instinctively thought Xuan was sent by his father, although Xuan said he didn't know his father. But from Li Zhexiang's eyes, it was clear he didn't believe these words. Why did you come to see me? I have something I'd like to ask of you. I want you to help me make a medicine. I wouldn't make that kind of thing. Aren't you pretty good at alchemy? You're the one selling this medicine to the black market, aren't you? You have to understand, no one can investigate the dealer's information from the black market. But this kind of thing happened just as it happened. Li Yihyang was very curious about who the person in front of him was. And how did he investigate his personal information? You did the medicine, right? I have no idea what you're talking about. Li Yixiang began to regret listing the medicine on the black market. He had thought this was an absolutely safe deal, but now this has become his weakness. Please don't tell anyone about this. I'm not saying this to threaten you. As he spoke, Xuan handed the medicine in his hand to Li Zhexiang. I just need an excellent alchemist. Help me make the medicine I need. Judging by Yi Haiyan's expression, Li Yixiang knew he wasn't lying. Who exactly are you? I am Min Yi Haiyan, a prospective freshman at Myers Academy. Then let me hear your needs. Soon the two arrived at Li Yihyang's studio. What kind of medicine do you want me to help you make? I want a pill that can permanently enhance magical power. How could permanent improvement be possible? But the next second, Li Zhexiang began analyzing the raw materials needed. Yi Haiyan noticed that his aura had completely changed at this moment. Not only does it not stutter, but most raw materials can be inferred based solely on demand. Such a powerful medicine should be asked by other alchemists. I just want to ask you, senior, I will provide everything you need. If there is a recipe, most alchemists can make that pill. But Prime Minister Li possessed talents that other alchemists could not match. I understand, but I can't guarantee I'll succeed in the end. It's okay, even if you fail, it's okay. But if you fail, it will probably cause you losses. I am willing to trust your abilities, senior, and investing is inherently risky, isn't it? It should be noted that this was the first time someone had believed in Li Yisang so much. From birth until now, he has always been under his father's shadow. Compared to his other brothers, he never showed outstanding fighting qualities. This Li Yixiang failed to gain his father's approval, so Xuan's trust deeply touched his heart. As time went by, Xuan was already familiar with the wizard's fighting style. Now, he would no longer be easily defeated by Liu Xing'an. He could even occasionally gain the upper hand in battle. And now it was time to meet the goddess of death. To survive, the boy signs a contract with the goddess of death. He needs to defeat the monster in front of him within 90 days. To find the genius alchemist Li Zhexiang, Xuan for this reason, he asked him to help him make pills that could enhance his magical power. During this period, he also continuously trained with Ryu Xiangyun in real combat. Finally, he could draw his opponent with Liu Xing'an within the allotted time. But even so, Xuan still couldn't be sure he could definitely defeat Shadow Ghost. Before setting out, he went to see Prime Minister Li again. Prime Minister Li also fulfilled his trust and made the elixir. After Xuan took the pill, his magic power increased by 15 points. I told you really are talented, senior. It's all thanks to your trust in me. Senior, get some good rest. Judging by your look, you haven't slept for days. Then contact me again next time you need it. After some small talk, Xuan left Li Yihyang's studio. And tomorrow is the day of the promise with the goddess of death. I have a feeling that an honored guest is about to arrive. Early the next morning, Xuan arrived again at the dungeon gate. Once everything was ready, Xing Kai opened the dungeon door. And so, Xuan entered the dungeon alone once again. With the experience from last time, Xuan didn't panic at all during this teleportation. Soon he arrived at the domain of kings. As long as he can defeat the night ghost, he could then learn the truth about his own rebirth. At that moment, waves of light came from not far away. It turned out a skeletal archer had already aimed at Xuan. But today, Xuan is no longer what it used to be. He learned the combat styles of both classes simultaneously. Generally speaking, this kind of close-range attack can't compare to martial arts types. Far surpassing attack, but still no match for magic. Neither is particularly good at, making it a very ambiguous profession. But Liu Xing'an believed that if this person were Xuan, it would be different. Meanwhile, Xingkai was waiting outside the instance for news from Xuan. At that moment, he suddenly sensed a strange aura. Xingkai immediately gripped his weapon. So you're here. I've been been looking for you for ages. The newcomer was none other than Zinkai's college junior, Yanzhu. It's worth noting that after graduating from university, the two of them had no further contact. And now, Yanzhu had actually come to the dungeon on her own. Is this instance managed by the senior? How strange. Managing the dungeon shouldn't be within the senior's responsibilities. Actually, there's something I've always been curious about. Is the rumor about Chairman Yu Xiangyun's poor health true? Of course it's not true. Yanzhu, where did you hear this rumor? Many people say this. Our agent association can actually find quite a bit of information. Zinkai immediately realized that the Lotus Guild had already been planted with people. Thank you for telling me. Thanks to you, I have things to do when I get back. One more thing. Do you know this child named Min Zexuan? Recently, he has been frequently visiting the Lotus Union and often meeting Chairman Liu Xingen. I want to ask if you know the reason behind it. This matter doesn't require outsiders to worry. Actually, I didn't expect you to tell me. Or Star Senior, I know how tight-lipped you are. I'm here just to collect union money, so I have to put on a show. Then I'll be leaving now. Goodbye, Senior. After a long period of training, the boy returned to the land of kings. This time, he could easily deal with the monsters here. After defeating the small monsters, the night ghost finally appeared. Long time no see. This time I'm different from last time. After being attacked, the night ghost immediately launched a counterattack against Zexuan. But Zexuan easily dodged his attack. Even in midair, Zexuan never gave up on attacking opportunities, continuously using the holy bow to drain the night phantom's health. As a result, the night ghost could only let Zexuan land steadily. After recovering, the night ghost immediately launched an attack on Zexuan. 3 slashes shot straight toward Zexuan. Unexpectedly, Zexuan easily dodged the night ghost's skill with just a sidestep. Seeing this scene, the night phantom was stunned. Seeing Zexuan about to walk up to her, the night ghost immediately attacked Zexuan, but every one of his attacks was easily dodged by Zexuan. I'm panicking. Isn't it different from what you think? As soon as he finished speaking, several chains of lightning shot straight toward the night ghost. As a level 1 skill, its power far surpasses that of the holy bow. Moreover, Zexuan can freely control its attack angle. Night ghost clearly hadn't expected Zexuan's skill to change direction. If you weren't careful, you'd be tightly bound by lightning chains. Zexuan understood that these injuries alone were not enough to take him down, so he immediately released the holy bow to finish off the damage. However, the night ghost's health was also beyond Zexuan's expectations. After taking so much damage, he actually went berserk. Moreover, if Zexuan couldn't finish it within 10 minutes, he would die instantly. Zexuan also wanted to use absolute calculation to destroy this skill. Unexpectedly, at the critical moment, Hull intervened to stop him. Hell, how could you do something like this to get in my way? Seeing Hell not answering me, Zexuan could only seize the opportunity to take out the night ghost. But to his surprise, the night ghost actually started running away on its own to buy time. If you can't, Zexuan can only use sacrifice to control it first. Just as Zexuan was using his skills, the night ghost began to counterattack. Not only did it interrupt Zexuan's skill casting, he also added a fear abnormal effect to Zexuan. Before Zexuan could react, the night ghost immediately charged in to drain his health. Fortunately, this strike did not fatally wound Zexuan, but if they kept dragging things out, Zexuan would have no chance of winning. He decided to block his vision first. Seeing Zexuan rushing over, the night ghost instinctively tried to put some distance between them, but he soon realized that Zexuan was just standing not far away and casting his skills. You don't really think I'd rush over and fight you to the death, do you? Before he finished speaking, a strong light appeared before the night ghost. The lightning chains hidden inside struck its body directly. It was at this moment that Zexuan finally arrived before the night ghost. The night ghost even tried to summon mobs to buy time, but unfortunately, Zexuan had already set the trap. Because it detects an undead monster, the sacrifice automatically converts into Judgment of Light. With only 3 seconds left, Zexuan finally defeated the night ghost. Because of this, Zexuan earned the title, becoming the first person to pass the trial. Loki's choice really made sense. Come on, child, I invite you into my temple. The boy successfully defeated the night ghost. He became the first to pass the trial, obtained the qualification to visit the Temple of Death. In almost an instant, Zexuan was summoned to the temple entrance. At that moment, a terrifying aura locked onto him. A monster burst out from the temple, just as Zexuan was about to die on the spot. Garm, please invite the guests in. Hearing this, Garm immediately changed direction. He took Zexuan and entered the Temple of Death. Hell, I've come to see you. I didn't expect you to actually do it. Congratulations on being chosen by fate to become a rebel's child. You have perfectly passed the test I gave you. Why did you send me the Norn system and give me this kind of test? What exactly is your purpose? It's all about making you a rebel. Zexuan was very curious why it was him. You were born with this kind of fate, rebelling against the lofty Asir gods. Kill the supreme god Odin. That's Loki and our expectations for you. You want me to eliminate Odin. I don't understand what you're saying. You don't need to understand. I never expected you to understand from the start. You probably can't understand why they're dragging you into the Protoss dispute. But you need to remember one thing. This is not just a matter for us Asir Protoss opponents. The entire entire world is heading toward the end, and Odin wants to dominate the world. To stop all this, we need your strength. Make yourself stronger. Looking forward to the day we meet again. Before Zixuan could say anything, Hel forcibly escorted him out of the temple. Are you still planning to keep watching from the side? I don't remember ever inviting you. Please forgive my rude behavior as an old man. I heard you met with him, so how could I possibly make the decision? This guy is always so loyal, no matter the time. Speaking of which, how does it feel to see him in person? It is too early to draw conclusions. After all, he had only just taken his first step. I actually think you seem quite satisfied with that kid. As a rebel, his growth exceeded my expectations. He solved the problem I had given him, and finally came before me. Although I miscalculated, I was still very happy. That's good, everything goes smoothly for him, and I can rest easy. Is that all you want to say? You probably have something else to say to me, Mimir. I don't know what you're talking about. Cunning old man, do you still want to pretend you know nothing? The law of cause and effect for rebels is clearly distorted. Do you think I can't notice? It seems your title as a wise giant is now a thing of the past. And the rebel's left eye, that was clearly Odin offering the fountain of wisdom. Aren't you going to explain it? Mimir, what the hell are you and Loki up to? Please forgive me for telling you too soon. Just accept it as fate's arrangement. Fate, anyway, I'm used to waiting, but I will never stand idly by. According to the prophecy, countless hardships await him ahead. He needed a guide. To reach the peak, you must have a guide who is always ready to show you the right path. Meanwhile, Zixuan had already been teleported outside the dungeon. Although he never learned the truth, he received Hell's protection, can be immune to all abnormal statuses. The rich woman gave the boy the chance to spend freely at the mall, but Zixuan couldn't feel happy at all right now. Your expression doesn't look good. Are you facing some kind of trouble? Of course, Zixuan would never reveal his secret. After a trip to the domain of kings, not only did he fail to learn the truth, but he was even more puzzled, although he had acquired a new X-level skill. But the price was actually eliminating Odin. Zixuan thought as he wandered around with Shauna. Before she knew it, Shauna had started chatting with the salesperson. It turned out Shauna had chosen a magical dagger for Zixuan. Zixuan didn't expect that a single consumable could cost as much as 300 million. Although Murray's Academy provides some supplies to the freshmen, the quality of those items is quite average. So Liu Xingen gave Shauna a long shopping list. Reading the dense text, Zixuan broke out in a cold sweat for a moment, although Shauna had stated her purpose early on. But Zixuan thought he would at most buy some cards or pills, so they probably won't spend much time on themselves. But now, the situation was clearly beyond his expectations. Now let's go buy armor. However, Zixuan had already obtained armor in the king's domain. This armor is already sufficient for Zixuan's current use, and equipping it grants the skill invisibility. Hearing Zixuan muttering nearby, Shauna thought he needed an invisibility card. This is something every practitioner wants to get, but in places like this, you probably can't buy it. I'm just talking to myself, don't overthink it. Not many people actually learn stealth skills anyway. Isn't that right? If you're not lucky if you get them in dungeons, it's almost impossible to get invisibility cards. That's right, my brother is the only one in the country with stealth skills. Zixuan was very curious about who Shauna's brother was. My brother is Park Sung-yi, don't you know? Zixuan never expected that Shauna was actually Zinkai's younger sister. You have to know, their auras are completely different. At that moment, something resonated with Zixuan. A glimmer of light appeared before his eyes once again. Zixuan hurriedly ran toward the direction of the light dot. He believed that some kind of treasure must be waiting for him there. The scene shifted, and in the training ground, fierce sword winds swept toward them. The white-haired man before him seemed tireless. Every sword strike he swung carried an intense sense of aggression. The sparring ended, and the winner was an Heian. Although the man was also very strong, the difference in talent between the two was just too obvious. People say he's the next S-level practitioner, and there's a reason for that. Thank you for your hard work, don't get too arrogant. You were supposed to win this match. I know about my father. Get ready for the next schedule. After you shower, we're going to go shopping. Little did he know, and Heian had long grown tired of this mechanical lifestyle. The practitioner he wanted to be was not like that. Meanwhile, Zixuan discovers that the treasure in front of him is actually mistletoe. This is the treasure on Baldur's chest, which runs through the son of Odin. It holds endless magical power and can grow together with its wielder. Zixuan was very curious. Was this just another joke played by the Norn system? At this moment, he didn't notice an Heian passing behind him at all. The boy is the most likely to become the next S-level prodigy, but he lived a life like a walking corpse. Now an Heian is like a pawn in his father's hand. But aside from accepting all this, he had no other choice. Do we really need to buy so many things? To become an S-class curiosity, how could anyone be so reluctant to part with such a small item? But spending that much money means the mother's hospitalization fees for this month. Shut up, I'll handle the hospital expenses. You just need to train seriously. And so, an Heian could only stand aside like a puppet. He couldn't understand why he was here, just like monkeys in a zoo, just waiting for people to watch. Remember the first time he awakened his ability. Mom smiled and patted his head. Since then, he dreamed of becoming a practitioner. But to the father, there, his dream was just something to be used. And so, Enhayan became a machine, repeating the commands his father entered every day. At that moment, a dungeon rift appeared near the mall. For a moment, Enhayan was stunned on the spot. What are you still doing there? Hurry up and come over. You are a genius who will one day control the fate of the nation. If he got injured here, it would only be a loss at the opening ceremony of MangaCapped. But when you think of ordinary people who can't protect themselves, Enhayan immediately ran toward the dungeon. This was his only chance to prove he was a practitioner. He wanted to confirm something. Is he still the child his mother can be proud of? But the moment he saw Goblin, Enhayan stopped in his tracks. This was his first time coming into close contact with these monsters, but even if it was just some low-level ones, it could make him tremble all over. Enhayan could only watch as the goblins in front of him charged at him. A genius hailed as a martial arts player is most likely to become the next S-class Enhayan. He was completely terrified in front of the goblins. At the critical moment, Zixuan arrived just in time and saved him. The powerful impact sent Enhayan flying to the side. Are you Enhayan? Rewinding to 2.5 minutes earlier, Zixuan bought mistletoe. At this moment, Shauna had just arrived at the shop where Zixuan was located. He was very curious why Zixuan bought a strange stone. Before Zixuan could explain, an alarm about a dungeon appeared over the broadcast. Zixuan's choice was the same as Enhayan's. He rushed out of the mall immediately, because this is a choice all curiosity seekers would make. As soon as he left the mall, Zixuan unleashed the sacred bow and arrow. A powerful spell instantly swept over the goblin horde, but there were simply too many monsters. Zixuan couldn't take down so many goblins by himself. It was here that he met the unfortunate genius Enhayan. Enhayan was very curious about who the person in front of him was. More words will be discussed later. I need your help right now. Wait a moment, you'll have more behind you. Before he could finish, Zixuan killed the goblin behind him. Are you still going to stand there stunned? Pull yourself together and grab your weapon. The moment he heard this, all of Enhayan's unease and hesitation vanished. Zixuan's appearance was exactly the curiosity seeker in his mind. Now there is only one thing they need to do: defeat these monsters and protect the ordinary people in the mall. Enhayan hailed as a martial arts genius. He has already become the next S-level practitioner in people's minds. But the first time he encountered goblins, he was terrified by the monster's appearance. In the end, he only became an ordinary B-level practitioner. For some unknown reason, he always lost quickly in battle, so people called him an unfortunate genius. But this time, Zixuan helped him regain confidence in fighting again. Will you use provocation? If possible, first attract some of the monster's attention. There are too many goblins, so you need to lure them as much as possible. Upon hearing this, Enhayan immediately summoned his weapon. Then he unleashed the skilled taunt shout. You have to know, this is a skill far more advanced than ordinary taunt. Learning this skill at this age is why people call him a genius. Zixuan believed that in the future, Enhayan would become a useful trump card for him. So let's get to this point quickly. Oh my god, what's going on here? Zixuan and Enhayan immediately looked toward the source of the voice. The newcomer was none other than the raiders who had come to assist. I'm Park Kyung-hoon from the Hunter Guild. Did you handle all these goblins with you? Yao Jingsun quickly recognized Enhayan, one of the two. This way, it makes sense for the two to kill goblins. How should I report to my superiors? I was just about to tell you about this, so just say it was the association people who handled it. No one believed we could take down so many magical beasts anyway, but doing so clearly violates the rules. If anyone saw it, it would indeed be against the rules. If you don't want to stand out, I'll do my best to handle this matter properly. Then the beast's bounty should go to this guy too. Please keep the details of my presence here confidential. Please wait a moment. What do you mean by that? You clearly took down the beast yourself just now. Sorry, I have my own secrets too. It turned out that the opening of Myers Academy was just around the corner. Zixuan didn't want to take the risk and be noticed by his father. Only by hiding one's true strength can one have a chance for revenge at a critical moment. Meanwhile, Enhayan was also caught in a dilemma. Logically, he shouldn't have monopolized Zixuan's credit, but with this money, he might be able to alleviate his mother's condition. He wanted to be a curious person with a clear conscience, but he also didn't want his mother to die untreated. Zixuan was also very curious about what Enhayan was hesitating about. Think carefully. Every decision you make will lead to different outcomes. If you hesitate, someone will definitely lose their life because of it. Enhayan realized that if he lost the person most important to him, what meaning would his dream have? If I get the chance, I will definitely repay this favor. Just from the recent conversation with Park Kyung-hoon, it's clear that Yi Hyun has a maturity beyond his age. Now that you've talked enough, I'll do as you suggest. Since it's already decided, I'll head out first. Please tell me your name and contact information. No need to be so troublesome, and you don't need to be so polite. We're all the same age. Besides, I'm also a freshman at Mills Academy, so we'll see each other often in the future. The boy took down hordes of monsters. Instead, he chose to give the high bounty to Enhayan. But it's not that Zixuan dislikes money, because compared to that, a favor from a martial arts genius is even more valuable. Time quickly arrived for the day Mille College enrolled. And Heian, known as a martial arts genius. It quickly caught the attention of the students nearby. Another person who caught their attention was Su Ruina. She is the one who will eventually top the popularity charts among practitioners. However, Su Ruina's situation was different from others. Zexuan wasn't so easy to win him over, and there was no need to rush now. He already had 3 companions whose strength far surpassed that of ordinary people. No matter how beautiful that girl is, you can't keep staring at her, can you? Hearing Jin Yaoking's words, Su Ruina looked over in Zexuan's direction. Freshman of Muraith College, it's a pleasure to meet you. I am Chairman Q Zion. The moment he heard the voice, Zexuan's expression turned serious. A large part of his miserable life back then was because of Q Zion. You need to be mentally prepared. Here, we cannot predict what will happen. You actually care about me. Don't worry that I'm impressive. But this is also true. After enrolling, Kim Yaoking became the 3rd elite in the magic department. So this time, Zexuan absolutely won't let Jin Yaoking repeat the same mistakes. Ladies and gentlemen, the entrance ceremony for Myers College is now commencing. We have prepared a special event for everyone. That is, the hunting activities of current students and freshmen in the subspace. The freshman hunt officially began. Jin Yaoking was startled by the sudden appearance of a magic circle beneath her feet. At the critical moment, Zexuan grabbed Jin Yaoking's hand just in time. Zexuan, today is the day he started school, right? He arrived so quickly, and I was hoping to message him to cheer him on before he started school. If you post it now, he probably won't see it either. I had already guessed the chairman's intentions, so I sent him a message for you yesterday. Really? Did he reply to you? What did Zexuan say? He said you don't have to worry. Meanwhile, Zexuan and Jin Yaoking had already arrived in the subspace. And besides them, there was another person here, the one who became an S-rank magic genius after Liu Xingen. Su Ruina, who changed the world's perception of magic. The scene shifted to the central control room of Muraith Academy. Q Zion was leading the teachers in observing the freshmen's performance. Among these students were many outstanding talents. Besides in Heian, there were several promising talents. Although Seo Ruina, Kim Yuqing, and Li Suhaian are in the magic department, their scores are all above 90. There is also a student who switched majors midway through, whose information has not yet been updated. People who change their majors midway know, without even seeing, that they won't last long at our college. Everyone who enters Muraith Academy possesses exceptional talent, but among these people are long-established geniuses like an Heian. We always need to give those stepping stones some opportunities. If they can awaken a second time, then we've made a profit. Q Zion's task was to select the most outstanding geniuses to present to that gentleman. We can't afford any more delays, or that gentleman will be angry. Entrance ceremony at Miles College. It was actually a hunting game unfolding in a subspace. Subspace can break free from the constraints of time and space. Everything that cannot be realized in reality can be distorted here into a true form. Every year, 5% of students are eliminated here. Such a brutal event is designed to make students feel their limits. So no matter what, Zexuan must not let his guard down, especially in front of the magic genius Su Ruina. From now on, I will introduce the rules of the new hunting to everyone. According to the rules, everyone can only use skills below sea level. Whenever you remove someone else's name tag, you earn a certain amount of points. For safety, we've already set the skill power to the lowest level, so don't worry about getting hurt. Just actively participate in the game. Zexuan realized he hadn't mentioned any inherent skills. Moreover, the talent restrictions did not specify his purpose. The goal is to get rid of some useless people in advance, and to discover exceptionally talented newcomers as early as possible. We're going to stay here for 3 days, so let's find a shelter first. The subspace contains various traps and facilities. To survive here for 3 days, the most important thing is to find a shelter. Would it be safer if we teamed up with that person? She seemed to be a magic student just like us. Although winning over Su Ruina couldn't be better, but he is an extremely uncontrollable factor. Future News has repeatedly reported on countless people in danger because Su Ruina lost her sanity. This isn't something you can decide lightly. How can you be sure she won't betray me? She was full of guard, her eyes full of distrust toward us. It's the things you said that I can't feel at all. She gives me the exact same feeling she gives me now as you were when you were a child. With that, Jin Yaoking walked straight towards Su Ruina. If possible, would you like to team up with us? Both that kid and I are also magic types. This activity is unfavorable for our newcomers. The more people there are, the easier it is to fight. Whether we should team up or not might have to wait a bit before deciding. A gust of wind howled over the 3 of them. I didn't expect to find 3 new students so quickly. It seems that this year's points should be easy to get. How could there be 3 people? What I sensed was clearly 2. Quan Sushui suddenly realized he couldn't sense Zexuan's presence. Those 2 students are both from the martial arts department. Let's escape here first. I can't escape. I have to deal with them here. Thanks to her full-speed innate skill, she can track targets within 300 kilometers. Since the points are already in front of me, I won't hold back. After saying this, Shen Zhengxiang charged straight at the 3 of them. Unexpectedly, Zexuan easily dodged this sword strike. It's been a long time since anyone has swung a sword at me. There's no way way, I don't know the freshman who can dodge my attacks. Besides, you're just a freshman in the magic department. But in the next second, Shen Zhengxiang's sword was firmly gripped by Zai Xuan. You're such a foolish guy, and you're still alive today. Before he finished speaking, Zixuan crushed Shen Zhengxiang's sword. For a moment, Su Ruina was stunned by the scene before her. I'll give you 3 seconds, and if you hand over your name tag, I'll let you off. As a freshman in the magic department, Zixuan, he actually managed to suppress the martial arts department students in close combat. He even crushed Shen Zhengxiang's weapon with his bare hands. I'll give you 3 seconds to hand over your name tag, and I'll let you off. But by then, Shen Zhengxiang was already terrified. There was simply no time to react in such a short time. I've already given you a chance, but you didn't cherish it yourself. Quan Su Xiao hadn't expected his companion to be eliminated so quickly. Finally, a freshman has won the name badge. Is there a problem with the system? Why isn't this person in Heian? Instructor Zhang Lixiu, the system showed no abnormalities. Min Zixuan, how come I've never heard of that name before? Who exactly are you? I've sent you a team invitation. Please answer quickly. Let's take out the other one at once. Jin Yaoqing was puzzled why Zixuan had suddenly become so strong. Su Ruina, standing to the side, said nothing and quietly drew her weapon. Even without a monster like Zixuan, it's impossible to win at full speed to take on 3 enemies at once. So he immediately decided to take out one first, then escape in the chaos. Unfortunately, her attack was also dodged by Jin Yaoqing. If Jin Yaoqing were just an ordinary person, this tactic might work. After dodging the attack, Kim Yaoqing immediately launched a binding attack on Quan So Su. While dodging the restraints, Quan Su Shu threw the throwing knife in his hand. Fortunately, Jin Yaoqing blocked his attack with a magical stance. Zixuan knew that Jin Yaoqing alone would still struggle to defeat the current students, but just as he was about to make a move, but then he heard Su Ruina chanting magic. Su Ruina uses his innate skill, the Sword of Ulfheim. Almost instantly, Quan Su Shui was defeated by Su Ruina's skills. Only then did he realize that the 3 freshmen before him were all monsters. Maybe I just got in your way. No, you saved me just now. So is your suggestion still valid now? After all this, Zixuan felt it was necessary to adjust his evaluation of Su Ruina. Perhaps she wasn't as unbearable as the news reported, just naturally suspicious and taciturn. After forming a team, the 3 went straight to the nearest shelter. There are other people's footprints here. It seems they have entered the shelter. Everyone stopped searching and gathered here. They believed that the freshmen who could take down the current students would never stay hidden in the shelter forever. But they didn't know that Zixuan and the other 2 had already noticed their presence. A sudden attack killed a student in the crowd. Such behavior is undoubtedly an insult to them. Following the path of the magic, they spotted Kim Yuqing hiding nearby, and so they all fell into Zai Xuan's trap. So many people still can't catch me. Isn't that embarrassing? You bastards, stop right there. Little did they know, Jin Yaoqing was secretly mocking these simple-minded people. In fact, Zai Xuan had anticipated this from the very beginning. Although the shelter was safe, they couldn't stay here forever. Besides needing food, they also want to earn as many points as possible. So their goal is to reverse hunt current students. It was at this moment that Kim Yuqing activated the wind booster. It turned out they had already arrived at the paralyzed Baozi mushroom cluster. At the freshman hunting ceremony at Millet Academy, freshmen became prey for the current students, but Zai Xuan leads the freshmen to hunt the current students. They used Kim Yuqing as bait. The students were brought to the paralysis bun mushroom cluster. It turned out that Zixuan had asked Prime Minister Li early on how to resist numbing buns and mushrooms, although there is no way to prevent it. But the juice of the large leaf ash can treat its toxins. As long as it can be treated, that's enough, thank you, bro. So Zixuan and the others started searching for Dai Chen early on. Because this game is tailor-made for martial arts games, every rule here benefits the magic system, limiting people like Jin Yaoqing who lack inherent skills. Almost all means of attack have been lost. We need to use basic skills to turn the tide. Will you use substitution? Su Ruina was curious how a magic technique of swapping positions with teammates could pull off a comeback. Rest assured, as long as we have it, we can go all out. Back in time, the students have also noticed something unusual here. If they keep pursuing Jin Yaoqing, they'll enter the paralysis mushroom land group. So they started hesitating about whether they should give up on us. You've already chased this far. Are you really going to give up now? If we can turn back now, that freshman eliminated Kim Seong-hoon, and now you're saying something like that. Even if the opponent is a freshman, if we're all paralyzed, there's nothing we can do about them. Even if we get paralyzed, that guy definitely can't escape. Park Seong, stay here and help us guard outside the paralysis zone. The rest of you come with me. I want them to know that clever tricks won't work. Jin Hyuk knew very well that Kim Yuqing wanted to lure them into a trap, then let his companions take advantage of the chance to ambush. But at this moment, his mind was completely consumed by anger. Moreover, they never take the voices of the magic department seriously. Little thing, you have nowhere to run now, do you? You bug-like girl made things so complicated. Really? Why do I feel like you don't even dare to come over? Just moments ago, he was boasting shamelessly, but now he doesn't dare come any further. Hearing Kim Yuqing mock him like that, the students immediately rushed rushed over. Jin Yaoqing immediately triggered the paralysis spore mushroom at her feet. After the mushroom explodes, all creatures within 50 meters will enter a 2-hour paralysis state. Looks like it's our turn to step in. Jin Hyuk hadn't expected Kim Yuqing to actually trigger the paralysis spore mushroom. This behavior benefits none of them at all. It's time for a substitution. It's not my home court anymore. As soon as he finished speaking, a foot suddenly stomped on Jen's face. Respected seniors, now it's my turn. After saying that, Zixuan kicked Jen flying. You really are foolish, actually running to the paralyzing spore mushroom colony yourself. Just in case, I had my companion stand guard outside. Sorry, that person probably won't be able to make it either. At the same time, a violent explosion came from the forest. Student Park Seong-ha was eliminated, and the person who eliminated him was Seo Ruina. Jen was completely stunned the moment he saw the system notification. Didn't I say before, that person can't come? A spore mushroom that can paralyze everyone for 2 hours. But it has no effect on Zixuan, because Zixuan possesses Hell's protection. He can be immune to all abnormal statuses. As a result, Zixuan became the only person left to move. If you want to know why, you should keep it and ask the gods. The other three could only watch helplessly, as Zhenhe was taken out by Zixuan. Are there only the three of you left? The constant pop-up score hints startled the instructors. Zixuan and his team's points have also jumped to the top of the leaderboard. Meanwhile, Jin Yaoqing also drank the juice of the large leaf ash, which relieved her numbness. Now that the trouble was resolved, they prepared to meet up with Zixuan. Zixuan seemed to know a lot about magic. I'd never seen this kind of substitution in books. That kid had only been in the magic department for less than 3 months, and I taught him the basic theory. Could it be that he wanted to join the martial arts department before? Just a few months ago, he was still obsessed with martial arts games, and back then, he looked down on magic. But how did he know that the juice of the large leaf ash could relieve paralysis? How did he even know about this? Before long, the two arrived at the agreed meeting place. Has the paralysis on your body been lifted? You two don't look very tired. I just ran desperately and used magic once, and I was fine. I usually think you look silly, but today is different. Who are you calling foolish? Do you really have the nerve to say things like that? In Su Ruina's view, Zixuan didn't seem foolish at all. On the contrary, her looks are quite high, which perfectly matches her aesthetic. However, Su Ruina quickly suppressed her inner thoughts and decided to be cautious for now. After dealing with them, the group returned to the shelter. Zixuan then started tinkering with the pot. What are you doing? You're making a potion to restore your strength. I guessed it might be useful, so I asked my older brother for advice. You still have an older brother, you know, but you don't even have friends. Look at you, as if you have other friends besides me. Zixuan, you're really impressive. It feels like you're not our age. You look mature, as if you've lived 10 years longer than us. Stop chatting there. For tomorrow's operation, we need to eat something. But Zixuan and Jin Yaoqing didn't have much talent in this area. I'm a bit good at cooking, so why not let me give it a try? I live with my grandmother, so I'm the one cooking every day. Saying this, Su Ruina tied up her hair, ready to show off her cooking skills. Zixuan doesn't know much about Su Ruina's family situation, but she lived with his grandmother. Zixuan guessed that something might have happened to her parents. Soon, Su Ruina prepared dinner for everyone. After the two of them tasted it, they were amazed by the flavor. Jin Yaoqing was so excited that she hugged Su Ruina directly. I never expected to be able to eat such delicious food here. Being with the two of them, Su Ruina also experienced a long-lost sense of happiness. A hunting game tailor-made for martial arts games. Yet Zixuan, as a magic-type member, leads the team to the top of the rankings. This phenomenon shocked all the instructors watching the matches. The student in Heian, whom we have been looking forward to, is currently ranked 4th. Even more unbelievable is that the top and second-place students are currently both magic students. So far, such achievements have only appeared among martial arts practitioners. But now, no one knows how to explain the situation. 3 new magic students actually dominated the entire event, even wiping out all the martial arts students. Play the scene from the paralyzed spore mushroom field area again. In such cases, he was not only decisive, but also astonishingly judgmental. He even has the strength to defeat the martial arts type. He didn't seem like a magic student at all. It was impossible to believe he was a freshman. There has been no update on Min Zixuan's data to this day. We have already found information about Min Zixuan, Chairman, but I don't know if this information is reliable. What does it mean that you don't know whether this material is trustworthy? Calm down and explain what exactly is going on. Just take a look at his profile and you'll know. Min Zixuan's magic compatibility rate reached 97%. The moment he saw this number, Q Zion could hardly believe his eyes. At the same time, he couldn't suppress his inner joy. I want to personally see just how outstanding he really is. Do you mean to directly intervene in this test? I can't wait to meet this child. Let's design a fun game. Meanwhile, Zixuan's points had already reached 1.1 million, almost firmly holding the top spot on the freshman leaderboard. Since no students from the Nightmare Forest had come to the campus anymore, Zixuan and the others had no choice but to leave the shelter. Because to earn more points, they have to get moving. With no other choice, let's start preparing. The highest record for fresh freshman in the past was 1.14 million points. We want to break the highest records and create new history. Zixuan hadn't expected Su Ruina's competitive drive to be so strong. Just then, Zixuan suddenly noticed someone approaching. A fierce slash shot straight toward Zixuan. This overwhelming power far surpasses that of sea-level skills. It turned out that due to the instability of the subspace, the skill restrictions had already been lifted. For a moment, everyone turned their gaze toward the direction of the slash. Zixuan, are you okay? We're all freshmen. Why is he attacking me? I didn't expect to meet again in this way. And Heian, what exactly are you doing now? But at this moment, and Heian seemed unable to hear Zixuan speaking. That guy looked unconscious, as if he was being controlled by someone. Zixuan immediately realized that Q Zion must have done this, because the same thing happened on Mille College's anniversary day. Q Zion was exposed for his corruption, and to evade legal punishment, he brainwashed students with his skills. It caused a terrible accident, distracting people's attention, and then vanishing without a trace. That accident claimed the lives of countless students. Jin Yaoqing also collapsed into Zai Xuan's arms that day. As a friend, Zai Xuan definitely wouldn't let go and fight in Heian. So what we need to do now is help him regain consciousness. At that moment, the Norn system suddenly sent a mission. He saved a student caught in a brainwashing spell, and the mission reward was actually a blank card. Not long ago, they were fighting side by side, but now he drew his sword against Zixuan. It turned out an Heian had been manipulated, but this also gave Zixuan a chance to get a blank card. I can handle it alone. You all should leave here quickly. The farther you go, the better. If possible, help me accumulate more points. He's that martial arts genius. And Heian, how could you possibly do it alone? Do you really think I can't do it? Seeing Zixuan like this, Su Ruina immediately chose to believe him. He understands, so we'll leave right away. Why is Ruina also playing with you and Zixuan? Honestly, I'm leaving. Leave the earning points to us. But Zixuan, please don't get hurt. Once you solve it, come find us quickly. Don't worry, I'll come find you soon. Rewinding to one day earlier, and Heian had taken out quite a few students on his own merit. Now he already has 600,000 points. Just one more day of holding out, and this game will be over. He had clearly given it his all, yet still couldn't get first place. He hadn't expected that someone from the magic department could actually take first place under such conditions. Even his teammates rank very high. He couldn't help but recall the scene when he first met Zixuan. He really was an extraordinary guy. Since that's the case, I can't give up easily. There's still time now, if I put in a bit more effort. Student in Heian, I am Chairman Q Zion. Is there something you need from me? There's something I need in Heian to help me with. As a sharp pain struck his brain, and Heian was brainwashed by Q Zion. Why am I here, and what am I supposed to do? I remember now. I want to take down Min Zixuan. Time rewinds to the present, and Heian charged at Zixuan with his shield. Suddenly, Heian slashed out with his sword. Unfortunately, Zixuan lightly leapt and dodged his attack. Zixuan recognized this as his first-level skill, Martial Ultimate. Seeing the strike fail, and Heian immediately closed the distance to Zixuan. Zixuan was very curious about why Heian suddenly became so strong. When they first met, his behavior was clearly quite ordinary, but Heian's current proficiency is completely different from back then. Moreover, in terms of physical fitness, Zixuan couldn't match Heian, and Heian could send Zixuan flying with just his shield. Zixuan could only spin in the air to dispel this immense force. Once he steadied himself, he immediately activated the wind power to boost the movement. Now Zixuan's speed had far surpassed Heian's. He used his speed advantage to circle behind Heian. Get ready to end this pointless battle with lightning chains. Unexpectedly, Heian managed to pull away between them in time. His eyes had already reacted before tracking Zixuan's movements. No wonder he's a genius born with an exceptional combat instinct. Zixuan knew dealing with him might not be as easy as he had imagined, although using absolute calculation can break the brainwashing. But the problem is, Q Zion must have watched the battle from the surveillance room. Maybe there's even a lecherous smile on his face. But at this moment, Zixuan's competitive spirit was also ignited by Heian. Moreover, he wanted Q Zion to pay the price, even though she's a student in the magic department. But just like the martial arts department, they fight at close range, and they can gain the upper hand in battle. You have to know, Zixuan's opponent is the martial arts prodigy in Heian. Such a scene made the instructor unable to believe his own eyes, because the magic department could never defeat the martial arts department. That was the truth he deeply felt while pursuing the path of the magic department. But such a thing happened right before everyone's eyes. At this moment, Heian was completely beaten and had no strength to fight back. I never intended to go this far, but your body is sturdy. I think you'll be able to stand up soon. So now is the time to deal with them. Zixuan's face turned to the crowd in the surveillance room. The next second, the surveillance footage turned white light. What happened? How did the scene suddenly turn like this? Q Zion snatched the remote control from the instructor's hand, but no matter how he pressed it, the image never changed. It seems the magic he cast to cut off the screen is, "Flashbang good kid, trying this trick with me, huh?" Instructor Jin Shiji, listen carefully. After the event, I had this student named Min Zixuan Zixuan come to my office. Is it really okay for us to make a decision so quickly? Instructor Jin Shiji, do you know why he used magic to cut off the screen even after winning? Because he knows how to enhance his own value. At the same time, Zixuan had already arrived in front of Enheayan. Then he used absolute calculation to break free from his brainwashing. Are you a bit more sober now? Enheayan tried to get up, but found his body in unbearable pain. In the end, he collapsed to the ground, convulsing. Sorry, you suddenly rushed over and attacked me just now. Did I attack you? Why would I do such a thing? You have been hit by a mind control spell. Only then did Enheayan remember that he had indeed heard some kind of sound. But this kind of magic definitely surpasses A rank. The subspace clearly limits skill levels. Maybe something suddenly went wrong in the subspace, or maybe someone intervened here. Do you know who this person is and why he did this? I can't guess these things either, but since such a grand spectacle was possible, this shows that this person is not someone ordinary people can casually provoke. However, Zixuan believed that in the future, Enheayan would surely see Q Zion's true colors. Enheayan struggled to get up, only to find that the pain in his body still hadn't lessened. In contrast, Zixuan stood aside as if nothing had happened, thinking about the gap between himself and Zixuan. He couldn't help but clench his fists. I'm really sorry, I'm truly sorry. Since you can still move, I'll head out now. I'll keep working hard for the rest of the time. But at that moment, Enheayan threw something to Zixuan. Zixuan opened his hand and found it was actually Enheayan's name brand. What are you doing? You should know that not having a branded name is basically being eliminated. Although I can't beat you, I still have quite a few points. And I lost to you, so this should be yours. But next time I definitely won't say it again. When the time comes, I'll personally take the name brand back. Although this item is only worth 10,000 points. But for Zixuan, it holds extraordinary significance because he used to crave martial arts abilities so much. Gaining the recognition of a martial arts genius brings an unprecedented sense of accomplishment. Once a child who could only envy martial arts series fans, now he had personally defeated a genius in the martial arts department and gained his recognition. This was the most rewarding thing Zixuan felt after returning from time travel. He could clearly feel that he had moved past that fragile past. Soon, the freshman hunting game ended. Zixuan broke the previous record with 1.53 million points. You've broken the record. Shouldn't you be a little happier? Am I right, Riane? If we had just one more hour, we could have broken 1.6 million points. Forget it, these points are enough for me to spend for a while. Of course, multiplying our points by 10 makes it almost the same as real money. In other words, you've earned about 15.3 million. And since I'm ranked first and you two are tied for second, there should be an extra 1 million points reward. Hearing that she had earned so much money, Yaoqing couldn't help but want to throw herself at Zixuan. Unlike them, other students could only cast envious glances. At that moment, a tall figure passed through the students. Hello, fellow students. I am your instructor, Jin Shiji. Upon hearing this, the two immediately greeted the instructor. I have something to say to the three of you. There are too many people here and noisy eyes. How about we change places? Are you talking about our results from this freshman hunt? Upon hearing this, Jin Shiji could only nod silently. Zixuan said nothing and walked straight past Jin Shiji. Shouldn't you ask where I'm taking you? Chairman's office. I'm right, instructor. And so, the three of them followed Jin Shiji to Q Zion's office. Where is the chairman? Why did he call us over but he himself wasn't there? Seeing such an arrogant Zixuan, Jin Shiji dared not speak out in anger. You two should sit down and wait first. Unlike Zixuan, Jin Yaoqing and Su Ruina only dared to obediently obey. Sorry to keep you three waiting, I was late. Hello, I am Jin Yaoqing, a freshman in the magic department, and I am Su Ruina. I know two classmates, Jin Yaoqing and Su Ruina. I really was late. I was almost asleep waiting so long. The two hadn't expected Zixuan to say something like that. Jin Shiji was also terrified by Zixuan. For a moment, the entire office fell completely silent. Sorry, but I need some time to prepare for a better conversation with everyone. No, it should be that we feel embarrassed. These past 3 days, he's been crawling and rolling in the subspace, and before he even had a chance to wash up, he came over. I really didn't think this through. After several probings, Zixuan discovered that Q Zion was showing weakness to them, which meant he didn't want to miss out on the talent in front of him. I have brought you a suggestion that should be quite good, so please forgive me. First of all, congratulations to the 3 students for ranking in the top 3 in this hunt, especially Ming Zixuan, who achieved first place. Not only that, you broke records with overwhelming dominance. This result is truly unbelievable and has surprised me greatly. What exactly do you want to say? Can't you be a bit more direct? At Murai's Academy, we plan to provide some benefits to the 3 of us. First, you can use suites in the college dormitory building for free. Second, all 3 people who need to make a reservation have priority access to the facilities. Third, if you are dissatisfied with your exam results, you can apply to retake the exam. As the top 3 in the freshman hunting competition, Jia Zixuan and his group received unprecedented privileges. Not only can you use the suites in the college dormitory building for free, it also has priority access to all facilities that require reservations. If you are dissatisfied with your exam results, You can even apply to retake the exam. Besides the benefits I just mentioned, the 3 students can also sign this agreement to become partners of Miles Academy. These benefits sound like it's not just about those things. With our own abilities, we can get it within a month. After all, Myers Academy is a place where strength speaks for itself. I don't understand why they have to pay tuition and sign an agreement. You'd better show me the agreement first. Within 5 years, after signing a partnership agreement with Murray's College, when participating as a hunter, you must donate 30% of your earnings to the academy. Chairman Q Zion, this isn't a benefit for us. It's an attempt to trick us. If that's what you think, then there's nothing I can do. This agreement isn't mandatory. Whether to sign or not is up to the 3 of you. After hearing Zixuan's words, Jin Yaoqing and Su Ruina exchanged a glance. The 2 quickly decided not to sign the agreement. What a pity, truly a pity. This is already the best offer I can offer you all. Maybe you haven't thought it through yet, but I can give you another chance. Min Zixuan, do you still not want to sign with me now? Q Zion had no idea that Zixuan had been waiting for him to start the brainwashing all along. Thanks to Hell's protection, Zixuan is not affected by brainwashing. I've made it very clear. I don't want to sign that agreement. If there's nothing else, then let's head out first. After struggling for 3 days, we were immediately called to the office. We really needed a good rest. And so, the 3 of them passed by instructor Jin Shiji again. After hearing these conversations, Jin Shiji was already drenched in cold sweat. Only Q Zion and Jin Shiji remained in the office. Instructor Jin Shiji, you should leave first. He's just a rookie, yet he can actually resist my innate skills. Min Zixuan, you make me want you even more. Don't you really mind? You also refused Q Zion's proposal just now. At first, it really is tempting, but after hearing what you said, it seems quite reasonable. I also doubted that agreement, thinking that refusing him was the right choice. If we were given preferential treatment from the start, it would definitely be unfair to others. Those things really should be fought for by one's own strength. That's good. Actually, I also hope you can reject that agreement. Don't you find it strange? When we rejected his proposal, his expression was terrifyingly gloomy. I also felt something was wrong. The very first event after enrollment went wrong, but neither of them mentioned the matter at all. Ming Zixuan, do you know any inside story about Chairman Q Zion? Hearing Su Ruina's words, Zixuan stopped in his tracks. Why do you think this way? You used to be calm and unremarkable like a freshman, but when facing the chairman, you were unusually hostile. I'm not entirely sure either, so it's not convenient to say right now. But there's one thing I can tell you. If possible, don't trust anyone, whether it's the chairman or the instructor. Mills Academy offers exclusive uniforms for outstanding students, but Zixuan not only refused to accept it, he even publicly humiliated the chairman. If possible, don't trust anyone, whether it's the chairman or the instructor. If that's the case, can't we even trust you? That's right, you can't trust what he says. Look at him, he looks fierce. He even left me alone in the middle of the road before. Saying that, Jin Yaoqing pounced on me. Do you know how much pain I was in at that moment? After some roughhousing, Zixuan pushed Jin Yaoqing away. All right, let's go back now. Then let's part ways here. Jin Yaoqing glanced at the 2 who were standing there in a daze. Are you guys acting in a youth idol drama here? Do you want to bring me along too? The girls' dormitory is on the left. The boys' dorm is on the right. Hurry back and rest. Then let's head back first. Zixuan, you should go back and get some good rest too. Tomorrow is the first class. See you tomorrow. Zixuan returned to his dorm again, a room filled with a musty smell and creaking floors. As an incompetent underachiever, all the neglect he once suffered remains here. Zixuan hadn't experienced this feeling in a long time. Early the next morning, the students had already gathered in the equipment room. Hello to all students in the Department of Magic. My name is Jin Jian, and I am the lead instructor for the course, Fundamentals of Magical Adaptation. Zixuan realized that in his previous life, he seemed to have no memories of her, perhaps because she was in the martial arts department at the time, and Kim Jae-yeon soon left Murray's Academy. This is not something difficult to understand. Being an instructor at Murray's Academy is by no means easy, a fact widely accepted by most awakened ones. Of course, it's also possible that he was like Jin Shiji, obsessed with Q Zion's wealth, the person who has always insisted on staying at Murray's Academy. All right, everyone, quiet down. You might be a bit surprised why the first class wasn't in the classroom. Instead, they want you to gather at such a large facility. The reason is simple. Today, I'm testing everyone's mana sensitivity. From the door behind Kim Jae-yeon came a magical power similar to a magic cube. As a result, many students were quite intimidated by this aura, but Zixuan had already noticed the difference between the two. The mana concentration behind these doors is much lower than that of the magic cube. The device before you is called the magic room. It is an improved version of the magic cube used by general guilds. For those of you who are still students, tackling the magic cube is almost impossible. So our Millie Academy has prepared this for everyone, and it consists of several small rooms. The mana concentration in the first room is about the same as air, and the further you go, the stronger it naturally becomes. Generally, freshmen can persist until the 3rd stage. Graduates can persist up to the 7th stage. This lesson is meant to help everyone confirm how much concentration of magic they can withstand. Hearing Kim Jae-yeon's words, Su-ruina couldn't help but clench her fists. All students, please line up and follow behind me. If any abnormalities occur during the process, please raise your hand immediately to signal the situation. The teaching assistants will take you out, and now the official test begins. The first class for freshmen was surprisingly not about theoretical knowledge. Instead, it tests how much mana they can withstand. The mana concentration in the first room is about the same as students who get into Mille College don't feel uncomfortable. But from now on, the mana concentration in each room will keep increasing. Starting from the second room, some students couldn't withstand the concentration of magical power. With the help of the teaching assistant, these people left the magic room. By the third room, more and more students could no longer handle the pressure. The third room is roughly the average for freshmen, and by this time, nearly half have given up. By the fifth room, there were even fewer students left. Do you feel short of breath? I'm okay now. Seeing that Zexuan can easily handle the mana concentration in the room, Su-ruina secretly resolved to work even harder. After reaching the sixth room, only 4 students remained. They were all top performers in the freshman hunt. Kim Jae-yeon sighed inwardly for Q Zion. She really had a reason to follow Jae-shuan, but she had no intention of obediently obeying Q Zion's orders. Next, we will enter the 7th room. Everyone must always remember that if you feel unwell, raise your hand immediately. Keep in mind, the 7th room has already reached the level of a graduate. Next, we're about to enter the 8th room. Are any students feeling uncomfortable? Seeing everyone's composed expressions, Kim Jae-yeon was the first to enter the 8th room. Look, they actually went to the 8th room. After entering the 8th room, Kim Yoo-jeum and Lee Soo-hyuk were the first to show signs of discomfort. In contrast, Zixuan remained calm and composed. From this point on, the mana concentration inside the device changed every moment, just like a dungeon. Even geniuses will become powerless starting from here. Next, we will enter room 9. Almost the moment she stepped into the room, Su-ruina's body couldn't take it. Afterwards, Zexuan entered the room and quickly started calling her name. Upon hearing the voice, Kim Jae-yeon immediately turned to look. Instructor Kim Jae-yeon, remember, no matter what situation students face, never lend a helping hand. A crisis is also an opportunity for students. If you take the opportunity away from them, they must be heartbroken. Riane, are you all right? I'm fine, I can continue. But the scene before Su-ruina's eyes was already blurred. But in her heart, she told herself she absolutely could not lose. This is a world where only the strong survive. So what if you have talent in magic? You'll still have to be ranked below the martial arts faction. If she can't even get recognition here, then there's nowhere else to be recognized for her. In the end, Su-ruina was carried out on a stretcher by the teaching assistants. After Su-ruina left, Zixuan entered the 10th room without looking back. Even Kim Jae-yeon would start feeling short of breath from this point onward. But when she entered, she found that Zexuan still appeared calm and composed. I couldn't take it anymore either, so I'll stop here. Then come out with me, let's go this way. Kim Jae-yeon knew very well that what Jae-shuan just said definitely wasn't the truth, because he clearly looked even more relaxed than she was. The mana room test can demonstrate a mage's potential. While most students were still in room 3, Jae-shuan was already able to adapt to the mana concentration in the 10th room. Ming Zixuan actually broke through the 10th stage of the magic room. This means he has reached the level of a B-level practitioner, or in other words, he has the potential to reach an even higher level. Everyone should work hard and strive to catch up to him as soon as possible. Although Su-ruina really wanted to defeat Jae-shuan, stage 9 was already her limit. Riane, were you okay just now? Sorry to make you worry. They said it's just a normal sign of magic poisoning. Are you okay? You seemed pretty normal just now. I'm fine, but could you take off the towel that was hanging around your neck? I was just worried about you. By the way, do you feel better now? Are you feeling unwell anywhere? I have no problem at all. After asking Jin Yaoking, Zixuan glanced at Su-ruina again. He had thought Su-ruina was just very competitive, but after what just happened, he realized Su-ruina was clearly forcing herself. Although she wasn't injured this time, her personality would be troublesome to manage in the future. Although Zixuan doesn't intend to control the fate of these people, but with Zexuan's involvement, their future has indeed begun to change. Therefore, Su-ruina's future is very likely to change. Of course, Jin Yaoking couldn't have died young at the academy like in her previous life. Why are you staring at me? Is it because I'm too beautiful? Are you really okay? From what you're saying, it seems like you're seriously ill. Zexuan didn't know how much impact these actions would have on the future, but the current situation changes rapidly. If he wants to stay one step ahead, Zexuan needs to prepare in advance. What were you just mumbling about? Say something I can understand. To avoid involving Jin Yaoking, Zexuan had to divert her attention, so he placed a towel on Jin Yaoking's head and rubbed it thoroughly. After removing the towel, Jin Yaoking's hair had turned into a bird's nest. You damn brat. This was the look I had worked so hard to get this morning done. Anyway, whether you do it or not, you can't tell the difference. So are you saying I'm ugly now? Realizing he had said the wrong thing, Zexuan immediately took off running. I'm the one going to the infirmary, so why does it feel like Zexuan will get hurt even worse? However, a trace of envy still appeared in Su-ruina's eyes. The two of them really have a great relationship. Meanwhile, Lee Suhyuk was also watching the two as they played. He couldn't understand how Zixuan managed to break through the 10th stage of the magic room. Lee Ziyu, what are you standing there thinking? Kim Minju, tell me everything you know about that guy. Don't you know who Ming Zixuan is? Ziyu, analyzing the other students' strengths is a required course. That kid was the first student in the magic department to win first place in the freshman hunt. I know all that. I want to ask where this kid came from. But Kim Minju was also unaware of this matter. I always felt something was off about him. He must be hiding something. Kim Minju still hasn't adapted to Lee Suhyuk's changes. You wouldn't think he used backdoor right at the start of the semester, would he? If it weren't for the backdoor, no one could be stronger than me. Hearing this, Kim Minju felt a wave of awkwardness inside, because Lee Suhyuk had actually been outshone by Seo Yona and Kim Yuching. Don't try to show off this time. Even if you fight your best, you can't do anything to Zixuan. But before he could finish, Lee Suhyuk had already left. What a childish kid who hasn't changed at all since childhood. Lee Ziyu, wait a moment, will I come with you? As an S-rank practitioner, the Saintess Liu Xing'an. Secretly, she kept a child who was still in school. These days, Yi Haiyan hadn't contacted her, so Ryu Seongyun had to reach out to him proactively. If you want to contact me, you probably want to hear about my results in the freshman hunt. That's right, it's even more interesting when you tell me it yourself. As you expected, I took first place. Our Zixuan really is remarkable. Is your agent with your salary adjustment now with you? Hearing you say that makes him happy. No wonder, even though you're a freshman, you live in such a good environment. Looks like you've earned quite a few points. Surviving at Muraith Academy is famously difficult. You have already had a successful start, and as your teacher, I am very proud. That was great. I was actually worried that if I got second, you'd scold me. Did you encounter any outstanding students during the freshman hunt? Are you trying to poach a group of talent? I do have this idea. If you can provide intelligence, I will also pay you accordingly. Providing intelligence isn't difficult, but it's a bit too formal for you to pay me, because I knew that if I spent 2 or even 10 times the pay in a while, I couldn't invite those people to our union. Let me tell you, Su Ruina and Jin Yaoking from the magic department, and Heian from the martial arts department. These 3 are talents worth recruiting from the Lotus Guild. Besides these freshmen, I also learned about a very talented person through the laughter. That person was Prime Minister Lee. I also know this person is not the youngest son of S-level practitioner Li Yichen. That child's talent was somewhat less than his brother's, so he was not recognized within the family. But even so, family is still family. If he were recruited into the Lotus Guild, it might cause friction with the Fengshan Guild, where Li Zaichen belongs. Do you think we really need to take the risk to recruit that kid? Yes, I think it's absolutely necessary. He will soon become the world's top alchemist. So would you welcome him to join us? With you making such a guarantee, of course I would welcome it. I'll hang up now. Alright, see you next time. After Zixuan finished talking, Liu Xing'an's mood clearly improved a lot. Chairman Park Jae-hyun has arrived. I understand. Please let her in. Led by Park Sana, a blonde woman walked into the room. After Park Jae-hyun entered, Shauna immediately waved to the newcomer. Understanding Shauna's hint, Xing quietly left the room. You really came right on time. For us business people, time is money. It's been a long time, Chairman Liu Xing'an. We didn't seem close enough to be happy to see each other. Please have a seat. Thank you for your hospitality. So what brings the president of the Planning Workers Association to see me? This gets straight to the point. Your question really can improve our relationship, but I don't dislike this kind of relationship either, since it helps avoid wasting time. What exactly do you want? I heard that the Lotus Union is currently focusing on cultivating a new talent. That child, why don't you make an offer? Park Jae-hyun, the world's most successful businessman. The first time he came to the Lotus Guild, he wanted to buy Zixuan from Liu Xing'an, but she didn't know that the relationship between Zixuan and Liu Xing'an was not as simple as it appeared. I heard that the Lotus Union is focusing on cultivating a talent. Regarding that child, you might as well make an offer. As soon as these words were spoken, the room instantly fell into silence. Sorry, I never thought about using Lotus Union members as tools to make money. Do you think that child thinks the same way? There are many things in the world that money cannot buy. It's just that you don't know yet. As a businessman, Park Jae-hyun didn't take these words to heart at all. Anyway, I never thought you'd accept my proposal. Originally, I just thought out of politeness that I should come and let you know first. But your so-called politeness really annoys me. If that's the case, that's truly a pity. Seeing your expression, you didn't want to keep chatting with me. It was getting late, so I decided to leave first. No wonder he's a businessman. He really knows how to read people's moods. Of course, this is my basic quality as a businessman. Meanwhile, Zixuan and the others also faced the next day's physical fitness test. Everyone was watching the upcoming exam results. Zixuan was very curious about what level he could reach with this test. Soon, the physical fitness test results were revealed to everyone. Seeing this outcome, Zixuan still felt a bit disappointed. As expected, I still can't beat the martial arts genius. Although there was no need to rush, it was also true that he still couldn't achieve his goals yet. Zixuan silently glanced at Heian, who was standing to the side. The last person slowly left. What exactly is going on with you? How could a magic practitioner like you possibly probably rank second, only to Enhayan. Besides, this is a physical fitness test. Does that make sense? There's nothing strange about it, right? I used to be a martial arts major. Don't focus solely on magic. Your body is the foundation of the revolution. Just you wait. One day I'm going to give you a good beating. After this test, Jin Shiji also realized the danger to Zixuan, because generally speaking, magic students absolutely cannot possess such physical qualities. From now on, we will proceed with the second physical fitness test, AR Spatial Evasion Test. This test is designed to assess students' abilities while also letting them know their own limits. This is the legendary AR testing space, a place where our Murai's Academy brings together cutting-edge technology. Here, you will conduct a dodge test. Simply put, it's about building surreal virtual enemies. Let students fight against them to improve their practical skills. Originally, it was supposed to be a challenge for everyone to take down virtual monsters made up of drones. Since this is just a physical fitness test, we will only briefly assess your evasion ability. Of course, if you can defeat Warcraft, we'll give you a higher score. Although Zixuan was very dissatisfied with him, Jin Shiji was not wrong about this. Because the Predator's basic job is to hunt monsters, predators with low attack power are not considered successful hunters. Clearly, he was just a weak Mei, yet he crushed all the martial arts fighters to claim second place in the endurance test. The second task is AR evasion testing. Saying this, Jin Shiji handed the items in her hands to the students. What is this thing that looks like headphones? This is a device used to assist the combat system and enhance realism. You're right, Zixuan really knows quite a lot. This device stimulates the brain to make enemies built by the projector feel real. AR combat uses drones to make Warcraft appear right in front of you. The greatest significance of this device is its safety. Although it was called a monster, it was virtual since it was a virtual one, so no one would get hurt. The mailbox can stimulate brainwaves and transmit about 1/5 of the damage dealt by enemy attacks. But the reason for this is not to harm the students. Instead, I hope to create appropriate tension to increase their survival rate in dungeons. This LR system has a total of 100 stages, but today's testing has only reached up to stage 10. The test is conducted in groups of 4. Students whose names are called form a group and then take the test in order. Yi Haiyan and Li Suhayak were placed together in the third group. Each group was mostly composed of 2 martial arts major students, plus 2 students from the magic department. Moreover, the strength of each group is fairly balanced. Li Ziyu walked straight toward Yi Haiyan. You're that guy named Ming Zixuan, right? I heard you achieved first place in the freshman hunt. I have never understood how a student from the magic department could win first place. I feel there must be some special reason behind this. What if I said there was no such thing? Then I'll have to find it myself. Even if I use force, I will definitely find the truth. You might as well be clear about your purpose from the very beginning. Just say you want to fight me directly. You're quite straightforward, and that's exactly what I was thinking. The remaining 2 members of the martial arts department were completely baffled. After all, they were members of the first group, so they felt it was necessary to ease their relationship. Next is Group 3. Members of Group 3, please hurry up and get on stage. Upon hearing Jin Shiji's words, Zixuan immediately walked toward the AR device. Although Li Suhayak was very dissatisfied, he still prioritized testing. The first phase enemy is the skeleton soldiers. The moment the magical beast appeared, Li Ziyu retreated to the rear of the team. No one expected Zixuan to charge straight at the beast. The 2 members of the martial arts department saw this and wanted to call Zixuan back. After all, in people's minds, a magic class rushing to the front line is no different from going to their deaths. Actually, Zixuan was also curious why someone still dared to provoke him even now. To avoid unnecessary trouble in the future, he had to show off his skills here. As Zixuan threw a punch, the skeletal soldier was instantly killed. This scene was something no one expected. Even Kim Yuqing and Seo Ruina outside the court were frightened. Soon after, more skeletal soldiers appeared. But without exception, all these magical beasts were instantly killed by Zixuan's punch. It turned out this was the active skill magic armament that Zixuan had learned. This is a special skill that ordinary mages absolutely cannot learn. But that doesn't mean this skill is particularly rare. This is because this skill increases the mage's physical damage. So for other mages, this skill is useless. But for Zixuan, it greatly enhances his combat power. People in the magic department all say he's crazy. The martial arts department members even exclaimed that this was an impossible task. Because as a magic-type player, Zixuan always charges at the front lines in every battle. He even learned the useless skills that other mages scoffed at. Because the path he chose was one that countless people had tried, but none had succeeded to become a battle mage to this day. Using this method, Zixuan perfectly passed the 10-stage AR evasion test and even broke the record for the shortest time required. And all of this is thanks to Liu Xingan's hands-on combat training. Although every time he teaches, Liu Xingan gives Zixuan a chill. It turned out that Ryu Xiangyun's teaching methods were very effective. What kind of trick have you played? What you just saw is everything. It's one thing for a magic type to charge to the front, but to single-handedly wipe out all the enemies. Who would believe such a thing if it got out? It was absolutely impossible not to play tricks. tricks. No matter what you say, I'm still saying the same thing. What you just saw is everything. It's only 3 times, so I don't want to repeat it a 3rd time. If you're really that curious, why don't I show you how amazing I am right now? Lee Soo-hyuk was already blinded by rage and instinctively tried to use magic on Jae Xuan. What happened to you two? Hearing the instructor's scolding, Lee Ziyu immediately calmed down. If you get expelled for fighting, then it's all a loss. Seeing that Lee Ziyu had no intention of making a move, Jae Xuan turned and left. Don't think you've already beaten me. I don't think I lost to you. At the Myers Academy Festival, the 2 of us will face off again. No, I won't fight you at the Murath Academy Festival. Lee Soo-hyuk thought Yi Hyan was looking down on him and immediately frowned. I already have an appointment on the day of the Murath Academy Festival. With this farce over, the next day's classes also ended, and Hye-in lay on the bed, recalling everything that had happened today. He knew that the person who had promised Jae Xuan to settle the score at the Murath Academy Festival was himself. He was very happy that Jae Xuan saw himself as a competitor. It's not time to rest yet. I need to train harder. I definitely can't let him down. Meanwhile, Jin Shiji took today's data to find Q Zion. Look at the results of this physical fitness test. I just watched the video. This year's freshmen are really impressive. The student named Zaixuan from the magic department even broke the record for the shortest time in the physical fitness test. Jin Shiji knew very well that Zaixuan was not simply outstanding in ability. As a student in the magic department, his maturity as a forward has already surpassed many other practitioners. Before long, the group arrived at Q Zion's office. Today's physical fitness test was really tough for everyone. Hurry up and tell me the results of this fitness test. 3 students received perfect scores this time, and Hye-in, Chi Yaoyuan, and Ming Zixuan. Among them, Ming Zixuan's performance was especially outstanding. Continue to follow Ming Zixuan's actions and achievements and report back to me. If he does anything strange, tell me immediately. With instructor Kim Sigi here, I feel at ease. That's all for today. Instructors, hurry back and prepare for the next event. Ming Zixuan, what other surprises can you bring me? Everyone thought the boy was just a mistress kept by the saintess, but Jae Xuan single-handedly broke the academy's record for the fastest. After class, he perfectly cleared level 27 of the evasion test. This level is already equivalent to 6 C-level practitioners. Only a very few who knew the saintess well knew that Zixuan was actually Liu Xing'an's only direct disciple, even though Zixuan's abilities far surpassed the student's level. But he still had to prepare for the next event, because the upcoming mock dungeon incident was a major disgrace in the history of Murath Academy. It was also a tragic incident that led to the loss of innocent students. In his previous life, Jae Xuan was at the center of this tragedy. In the end, he was the only one on the team to survive. Everyone told him, you'd be better off dying. But even after suffering such abuse, Zixuan couldn't leave Mille Academy, because he cannot let those who trust him down. Ultimately, his life grew darker and darker because of this tragedy. He didn't know if he could live differently this time than in his previous life. Once unable to protect anyone, he was the target of public criticism, living like disposable items that can be replaced and discarded at any time. So Jae Xuan doesn't want to repeat the same mistakes. Experiencing these regrettable things once is enough. Unconsciously, time had passed until the day before entering the dungeon. Jae Xuan, do you want to come with us? Whenever he saw these two, Jae Xuan's tense nerves would catch his breath. What about tomorrow? This is my first time entering a dungeon, and I haven't slept well since yesterday. It's okay, the first time you enter a dungeon. It's always like this. What are you talking about? From what you're saying, I think this isn't your first time entering a dungeon. I've never been to the dungeon, but I've seen monsters a few times. Now there's a monster right beside me. Hearing this, Jin Yaoqing immediately threw herself on Zaixuan and beat him. What nonsense are you talking about, you brat? Su Ruina, who has always been cold and aloof, watched the two from the side. She actually envied their relationship. Even just being with them, Su Ruina could feel warmth in her heart. If you're really that worried, take this with you too. What is this? Did you buy the potion? I brought mine when I bought it, so don't be reluctant when you need it. Although Zaixuan knew very well that he survived by luck in his previous life, this time he had to rely on his own strength. Time flew by on the day of the dungeon event, and Zixuan started warming up early in the morning, because even mages with extremely strong magical power can suffer backlash from suddenly abusing advanced magic. This causes significant physical harm to the user, and Zaixuan's lightning chains and sacrifices happen to be advanced skills, so he started running magic early in the morning to warm up. And in this simulated dungeon, who knows what dangers might be encountered? Maybe it's Zaixuan, or maybe a teammate from the same team, who might stay in the simulation dungeon forever. Zixuan suddenly realized that if he had already concentrated his magical power in his dantian, you can immediately use it to strengthen your body or magic when needed. At that moment, the Norn system suddenly appeared without warning, simply because only the boy survived the dungeon quest. All the classmates began cursing him, even wishing he was the one who died. From then on, Zaixuan lived like a disposable item. But in this life, Zaixuan already possesses strength far beyond what he once was. He believed that this time, he would surely protect all his companions. It was at this moment that the Norn system suddenly appeared. This is the first main quest given to Zixuan by the Norn system. You have traveled back to the moment you most wanted to return to. From now on, you will relive the turning points you once regretted. Will you make the same choice as before or other different choices? Your choice may determine others' lives and deaths, and all the outcomes depend on your thoughts. Apart from giving Zixuan two choices, the Norn system did not display any other task information. Zixuan didn't understand what those words meant. However, one thing is certain. The Norn system hopes Zixuan will grow up to help them achieve their goals. But this task and choice was completely incomprehensible to Zixuan. Soon, everyone arrived at the simulated dungeon area. This simulation dungeon will be randomly grouped. Your group must work together to clear the dungeon. Upon hearing this, the students immediately began to discuss. Because this grouping method is very unfair. If they encounter strong teammates, they can easily get through. But if luck is on your side, the whole group might end up being weak. However, Kim Jaeyeon quickly raised her hand to signal everyone to quiet down. This simulation dungeon is a real test, and the final score will be recorded. In the simulation dungeon, only low-level monsters of comparable skill level will appear. We hope everyone does their best to complete this test, but Zixuan knew very well that this was nothing more than a trap set by Q Zion. Although most of the magical beasts here were indeed low-level, based on Zixuan's experience in his previous life. There were also some boss-level magical beasts mixed in here. At Zixuan's current level, the D-class boss, the Orc King, was no match for him, but he also didn't want Q Zion's plan to proceed smoothly. Moreover, Yao Tsz Yan has already revealed his flaws during this event, which might be a chance to deliver a fatal blow to him. The time was about right. Now start random grouping. Students whose names are called will line up and draw lots here. Under Kim Jaeyeon's organization, the grouping ended quickly. Zixuan and Su Ruina were lucky enough to be placed in the same group. Great, there's another acquaintance in the same group. Su Ruina blushed and nodded, saying nothing. For Zixuan, this is indeed good news, because Su Ruina's strength is well assured. Just then, the remaining two members of the group arrived. The moment he turned around, Zixuan could hardly believe his eyes. Hello, I'm Jin Jinna from the Martial Arts Department, and I'm Park Seong-woo from the Martial Arts Department. We are all members of Group 3. Please take care of us. In her previous life, the ones standing in front of Yi Hyan were Kim Jinna and Park Seong-woo. It was only then that Zixuan understood the task given to him by the Norn system. So this was the choice before him, the two who saved Zixuan's life in their previous life. Now, once again, he has become Zixuan's teammate. Only then did Zixuan understand the intention of the Norn system. Looking at the two in front of him, a surge of inexplicable emotion surged in Zixuan's heart. Perhaps it was the joy brought by their reunion, or perhaps the shame and regret of not being able to save the two. But Zixuan quickly suppressed that emotion. Nice to meet you. I'm Zixuan from the Magic Department. This one beside me is Su Rui from the Magic Department. He's a bit shy around strangers. I'll greet you on his behalf, and I'll be counting on you in a bit. It's okay, we're all teammates. We'll get to know each other soon. We're easy to get along with, just relax. Seeing them like this, Zixuan felt a bit happy inside. They are always like this, very enthusiastic to everyone. Since everyone knows each other, let's start by formulating the battle plan. After unanimous recommendation, Zixuan was ultimately appointed as the team leader. In the following period, Zixuan explained several common battle plans to them. Everyone must remember, no matter what appears in the dungeon, you must never waver. Especially the martial arts department standing at the front. If you shake this team, it's all over. No wonder he's the top freshman hunter. The details of this plan are no joke. It's 6 o'clock in total, right? I wrote them all down. The preparation period ended here, and the captains and members of each squad gathered at the front. Hearing this, Zixuan hurriedly searched among the crowd for Jin Yaoking. After discovering that he was on the same team as Enhayan, Zixuan felt relieved, and so Zixuan led everyone into the simulation dungeon first. Next entering the dungeon was Enhayan's team, using a 1-to-1 formation. Since it was their first time entering a dungeon, everyone was somewhat nervous. After all, it's a mineral-type dungeon, so there should be werewolves here. There should be some, and there should be quite a few ores here. Then there should be diamonds here too, right? If we look carefully, it might be okay. When something approached, everyone took their positions. Jin Yaoking almost immediately entered a state of preparation. The remaining two were trembling uncontrollably from fear. Their enemies are a group of ordinary werewolves. In the narrow mine, the four were still surrounded by magical beasts. Although there are many such monsters, if there are too many, they're hard to deal with. We must finish this quickly, said Enhayan, who charged out first. Jin Yaoking didn't hesitate and immediately began chanting magic. In an instant, a powerful beam of light burst forth from within the mine shaft. Werewolves who have long been in dark environments have almost all lost their sight. Enhayan rushed into the beast horde and took the opportunity to reap their lives. But he soon discovered that the remaining two people in the group had already been attacked by werewolves. Haim, winds of the underworld, listen to my call. As Kim Yuching used the skill Air Explosion, all the werewolves attacking their teammates were killed. After dealing with the beast, Enhayan immediately began asking about his team teammates' physical condition. They noticed that the martial arts department had been coughing non-stop on the ground. Logically, werewolves shouldn't use poison, and they didn't understand what was happening. Just then, a huge wolf paw appeared before them. Xiahao wasn't poisoned. This is a phenomenon of magic poisoning. There is a terrifying magic around us right now. And Heian couldn't understand why the Orc King appeared here. A routine simulation dungeon test. Inside, it even hides a boss-level magical beast. Although Zixuan had known this information for a long time, but he couldn't tell his teammates about these things. However, thanks to Zixuan's formidable strength, they encountered no trouble along the way. I didn't expect you, Zixuan, to be so powerful. You managed to take down several monsters by yourself. It's nothing, it's easy to fix. While everyone was chatting enthusiastically, Su Ruina remained silent throughout. Zixuan also noticed Su Ruina's situation, so he quietly walked over to Su Ruina's side. You're still not used to being with them. Su Ruina silently nodded upon hearing this. Bai Xuan hadn't expected Su Ruina to be so shy about strangers. However, in her previous life, there were rumors that Su Ruina never spoke more than 3 sentences at once. At that moment, Park Xiangwu, who was walking ahead, suddenly stopped. It turned out they had already reached an empty room. You have to know, Zixuan's memories from his previous life didn't include such a thing. He immediately understood that this must be Q Zion's doing. But the next second, he felt a powerful magical force. The source of this magic is the Orc King, who plunged him into the center of tragedy. Something is coming our way, so we will implement Plan C using a defensive first, then counterattack tactic. He's different from our previous opponents, so everyone must be careful. Park Xiangwu was puzzled. Could there be an even stronger enemy here? Didn't the instructor say before that there were only low-level magical beasts here? Suddenly, a violent explosion erupted in front of the group. Then, the Beastman King's figure appeared before everyone. This is the King of Orcs. How could there be a boss-level monster here? Su Ruina's first reaction was also to retreat, but he remembered Zixuan's earlier warning. If the martial arts department at the front wavered, then the entire team would be finished. Without hesitation, she placed a magical barrier on the two of them. The moment the magical barrier appeared, Park Xiangwu quickly reacted. He immediately used the taunt skill to attract nearby mobs. Seeing that everyone had calmed down, Zixuan immediately charged toward the Orc King. In the blink of an eye, he was before the Orc King, and Zixuan didn't hesitate to use his magical weapon. With a loud boom, the cave was instantly filled with smoke and dust. Although she had seen Zixuan use this skill before, the sheer power still surprised Su Ruina. But surprisingly, even after taking that punch, the Orc King still stood before everyone. Although Zixuan had anticipated possible new developments before coming, but he never expected to encounter the Beastman King, who could regenerate. With just this ability, the difficulty of conquering the Orc King would increase dramatically. At that moment, the Norn system detected that the person behind the Orc King was Odin's Raven. He immediately assigned Zixuan the Crow Hunter task. Eliminate all Odin crows that suppress you and the Asir gods. Each time you defeat a crow, Zixuan will receive a blank card. When all the crows are cleared, Zixuan's rank will increase. It should only be in the low-level Warcraft test dungeon. Suddenly, a D-class boss, the Beastman King, appeared. Just standing in front of him caused everyone to be poisoned by the overflowing magical power. However, as an instructor, Kim Jaeyeon was completely unaware of this matter. She was still watching Zixuan's previous battle footage. Even as an A-rank hunter, she couldn't fight like Zixuan, so she believed that Zixuan and his team would most likely take first place in this mock dungeon. But just then, a door to a simulated dungeon suddenly opened. She hadn't expected Zixuan to finish the test so quickly, but when she saw who it was, she couldn't help but widen her eyes. Instructor Kim Jaeyeon, something's wrong, something big has happened. What's going on? What's going on inside? Instructor, the Orc King has appeared in our dungeon. You say the Orc King? How is that possible? Fortunately, Xiahao had no major issues, only mild magic poisoning. Kim Jaeyeon couldn't understand what went wrong in this test. Instructor, hasn't the third group member come out yet? Yes, Zixuan and the others haven't come out yet. And Heian couldn't understand why something like this was happening. With the strength of Zixuan and Ruina, they should have come out long ago. With no other choice, Kim Jaeyeon dialed Q Zion's number. Chairman, I am Instructor Kim Jaeyeon. Instructor Kim Jaeyeon, do you need something from me? It has been confirmed that a B-level monster has appeared in the simulated dungeon. Please send reinforcements as soon as possible. So this is what happened. Don't worry too much. I'll send a support team over right away. Please be sure to stand by before the support team arrives. Although Q Zion told her not to worry, but Kim Jaeyeon still had a sense of foreboding. Meanwhile, Zixuan and the others were still fighting the Beastman King. Seo Ruina and Kim Jinna collapsed from exhaustion. Standing at the very front of the team, Park Xiangwu had already lost his ability to fight. Now, the only one still able to fight was Yihian, but the Orc King was completely unharmed thanks to his self-healing ability. Following a prompt from the Norn system, Zixuan knew things weren't that simple. Odin possesses 2 crows, one named Fukin, representing emotions and thoughts. One named Uni represents memory. Through these 2 ravens, he perceives the world and rules Asgard. All of this is your doing, followers of Odin. The Orc King king before him had already surpassed B-level magic. Moreover, it has the ability to regenerate. Even Zai Xuan would find it hard to defeat such an opponent. For Zai Xuan, running away might be the best option. After all, running away before transmigration was routine, but back then, he lived in regret every day. Now, finally having a second chance, Zixuan hopes to protect them himself. Everyone, you must remember what I'm saying now. I'll hold this guy off. You all hurry up and get out of the dungeon. What do you mean by that? How could you possibly do it alone? Before he could finish, Jai Xuan instantly killed the werewolf behind Park Seungwoo. This is no longer a test. Now it's a matter of life and death. Enough talk, run. I can't protect you while fighting. He used to always hide behind his teammates, a boy who only knows how to run away when facing problems. Now he has stepped forward to protect his teammates. Leave here quickly. I'll help you buy some time. Zai Xuan, watch out for what you're up to. At the critical moment, a magical barrier blocked the Orc King's attack. Zixuan instinctively looked behind him. I can still fight. I'll stay and help you. Just by looking at Su Ruina's eyes, you could tell Zixuan definitely couldn't persuade her. Perhaps this is a variable brought by Zixuan. Go quickly to the dungeon entrance and tell Kim Jae-yeon about the situation here. Instructor, I'm counting on you. Whether we survive depends on you. Jinya also knew that staying here would only hold them back. We'll bring the instructor as soon as possible. You must hold on. And so Park Seong-ha and Kim Jin-ah left the instance. Zixuan and Su Rui stayed behind. They need to buy as much time as possible or defeat the Orc King with healing abilities. Riene, I'll cover from behind. Just use your skills confidently. Holy Sword, help me eliminate the evil spirits of the world. In almost an instant, all the werewolves were instantly killed by Su Ruina. But at that moment, the Orc King swung his wooden mallet again. Zai Xuan relied on his speed advantage to constantly dodge his attacks. Suddenly, he discovered a detail that could change the course of the battle. The body of the Orc King was slowly melting. This means his physical body can only withstand limited magical power, and the crow hiding behind him must be forcibly granting him magic beyond his limit. Without hesitation, Zixuan immediately equipped Hu Jisheng. Hu Jisheng can expand Zixuan's vision and also provide an active skill called magic perception. During the use of magical sensing, Zai Xuan could more clearly perceive all beings wielding magical power and the flow direction of the energy used. The Orc King before Zixuan had magical threads appearing on his body. The ends of those threads were controlled by the hand of a crow. Finally found you, the guy who only knows how to play tricks behind the scenes. Under the crow's control, the Orc King raised his wooden mallet again. This farce should end now. Let me send you off properly. The scene shifts to Asgard. Fujin, do you have something to report to me? I discovered the whereabouts of the mistletoe, lost in the god's warehouse through my ravens. So where is that thing now? In Midgard, mistletoe is currently in the hands of the prophesied rebels. The rebel, could it be that old Mimir? You're making a big fuss. After all, we've already signed a pact with the opponents of the Asir gods. Thor, you're too comfortable. Have you forgotten that we lost Bader in the last war? It was that mistletoe that killed him. Fujin, go check if the prophesied rebels and the opponents of the Asir gods have already made contact. I will respectfully obey Lord Odin's orders. His current appearance was none other than Yiseon's father, Min Seong-ok. Meanwhile, in Q Zion's office. So what's the situation over there now? Kim Jae-yeon, as you instructed, is still outside and hasn't entered the dungeon. So far, no one has realized something is wrong. That's good. Luckily, I borrowed that person's power in advance. Everything I do is for Odin and the god Asa, the monster that once pushed the boy's life into the abyss. Now he appeared before Zixuan once again, although Zixuan's strength has long since changed from what it used to be. But the Orc King also gained the ability to heal. At the critical moment, Zai Xuan noticed his body slowly melting, relying on the power of mistletoe. Zai Xuan finally found the mastermind behind all this. This farce should end now. Let me send you off properly. With the help of mistletoe, Zixuan can summon more lightning chains. Almost instantly, the lightning chains appeared before the Orc King. But after all, the Orc King is a boss-level magical beast. Moreover, he had gained power from Odin's raven. After a failed strike, Zixuan could only quickly put some distance between himself and him. Riene, can you cover me so his attacks can't hit me? I'll give it a try. But Su Ruina's current situation is also very poor. Both of them knew one thing. Even if Zixuan defeated the Orc King, Su Ruina was very likely to die from the backlash of her magical power. So Zixuan couldn't understand why. Even so, Su Ruina still wanted to help him. Zai Xuan finally managed to start over, having already resolved to trust no one again. Because for the weak, there is no place left in this world. But in my previous life, a martial arts uncle told me, of all causes of death, none is more tragic than dying from distrust of one's companions. And now, Zixuan only had one chance in front of him. Zai Xuan absolutely wouldn't allow himself even the slightest mistake. Several chains of lightning once again charged toward the Orc King. The Orc King still wanted to break these chains like last time. Unfortunately, this time Zai Xuan had Su Ruina's help. The magical barrier helped Zixuan block all of the Orc King's attacks. However, Zai Xuan knew very well that with Su Ruina's condition, she wouldn't last long. So he had to finish the fight quickly. Only in this way could Su Ruina have a chance to survive. and he wanted to prove that the uncle was right. Su Ruina hadn't expected Zixuan to actually use the lightning chains as a movement skill. Without super magical control, this is absolutely impossible, just as Zixuan was about to confront the Beastman King head-on. But Zixuan suddenly controlled the lightning chains to appear above the Orc King. The Orc King immediately gathered his strength, preparing to deliver a fatal blow to Zixuan. If Zixuan were hit, Su Ruina's magical barrier would instantly shatter. Just as Zixuan was about to be hit by the wooden hammer, he relied on the lightning chains to throw himself into the... Zixuan recalled the basic sword techniques he had practiced countless times in his previous life. From the bottom left to the top, swing the sword in your hand vertically upward. As a nightmare that lingered in his dark life, Zixuan hoped to use the skills from his previous life to settle things with it. This time, I will never let you have another child easily. It turned out that Zixuan was targeting the magical thread between the Orc King and the crow. After cutting these threads, Zixuan fiercely slashed his sword toward the Orc King. The furious slash shattered Zixuan's sword. Fortunately, all of this is already over, as the strongest freshman in the magic department. But at the last moment, Zixuan decided to use basic swordsmanship. But that doesn't mean his swordsmanship has the power to change the course of battle, because basic swordsmanship was his only attack skill in his previous life. Facing the nightmare beginning of his previous life, he wanted to use his former skills to settle things with it. All right, now everything is over. Now let me take a good look at your ugly face. Before he finished speaking, Zixuan pierced through the nearby rock wall with a lightning chain. Behind the rock wall, there was a cave hidden beneath it. Hiding inside was none other than the crow controlling the Orc King. Without hesitation, Zixuan stepped on it. Tell me what Odin's real purpose is. However, the crow remained silent throughout. But at that moment, Zixuan noticed the necklace around his neck, so he gave the crow another hard kick. What is the relationship between Q Zion and Odin? Seeing that the crow still didn't answer, Zixuan knew there was no point in dragging things out any longer, so he ended the crow's life with a single kick. The only thing to watch out for now is the backlash of magical power. Zixuan, is your end already over? At that moment, Zixuan suddenly felt a chill spread throughout his body. The battle isn't over yet. Beware of backlash from your magical power. Before the words had even faded, the two were almost simultaneously affected by the backlash of magical power. However, the chaotic magic that entered Zixuan's body was purified by the pure magic within him. This was largely due to his early morning warm-up with magic. Not only that, Zixuan's magical power in the atmosphere has also been permanently increased by 5%. At this moment, the Norn system also sent Zixuan a task reward. After defeating a raven, he gained 5 talent points, and a blank cards level was also increased by 1. Because of the upgrade, Zixuan's body quickly recovered, but the Norn system alerted him that one of his teammates was in danger. If not treated in time, the teammate will die. Not long after, Su Ruina finally opened her eyes. At this moment, Zixuan was sound asleep beside him. Su Ruina was very curious about what was going on. She quickly woke up Zixuan, who was standing nearby. You're awake, how are you feeling now? Su Ruina clearly remembered that she had just suffered a backlash from her magical power. But now, her stamina and magic had completely recovered. I think I'm fine now, and so are you. I was just a bit tired and accidentally fell asleep. Then Su Ruina looked around. Wasn't the Orc King already defeated? Why didn't you get out? I'm waiting for you to wake up, because I have something to say to you. Do you have something you want to say to me? What do you want to say? I think it's time for us to have a deeper exchange here. The moment she heard this, Su Ruina's face instantly flushed red. The scene shifted outside the instance, where Kim Yaoking was scolding Park Seongwoo and Jin Jinya for running out alone. Jin Yaoking calmed down first. I completely understand how worried you are about your classmates. And Heian watched from the side, but he was helpless. Unless Zixuan and Ruina return, this matter definitely won't end easily. At that moment, he noticed the dungeon door opened. Yaoking, wait a moment, don't stop me. Look, the two of them have already returned. The girl scolds her teammate for not coming out because her childhood friend didn't show up. If it weren't for Kim Jaeyeon stopping her, Kim Yaoking would have gone in right now to find Zixuan. But she didn't know that Zixuan was currently having a deep conversation with Su Ruina inside the dungeon. Yaoking, calm down. Look at the dungeon entrance. They have come back alive. You wouldn't be fighting because of us, would you? You have to understand, the supervisory team clearly said the two of them were dead. And judging by the mana in the dungeon, their opponents were at least B-rank boss monsters. When the two returned, Kim Yuching cried and rushed to them. The instructors and the supervisors all said you wouldn't be coming back. Luckily, you're okay. Thank goodness you're okay. All right, let us go first. Park Seongwoo and Kim Jinna hesitated, wondering whether to step forward and check on them. Park Seongwoo and Kim Jinna, thank you for believing in me. The two of them came out early on my request. I asked them to come out first and seek help from the instructor, so they shouldn't be under everyone's control. Even if you say that, they can't leave their teammates behind and come out first. If it were me, I'd do the same, so don't blame them anymore. And don't be angry with them because of me. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not angry because of you, I'm because of Riene. Seeing their reactions, Kim Jaeyeon also breathed a sigh of relief. However, she also planted seeds of doubt doubt in her heart toward Q Zion. Going back 3 minutes, Su Ruina thought Zixuan's deep conversation meant that. But in reality, Zixuan just wanted to open up to her and ask her to keep everything that happened today a secret. If you have this ability, why hide it? Aren't you curious why the Orc King appears in the dungeon and why the students are in danger? Chairman Q Zion is a scumbag. He always treats students as tools. His true nature is completely different from what you see in the media. As long as the student he thought was useless, even if they died, he didn't care. So you want to restrain Chairman Q Zion, and for that reason, you even hide your own strength. With these answers, Su Ruina's mind was instantly open. The day you left the chairman's office, you told me not to trust Q Zion or the instructor. I want to know how much you know about Chairman Q Zion. You seemed to know from the start that he was a bad person, and your behavior made me feel like you already knew what was going to happen. How do you even know all this? Since you want to have a deep conversation with me, then answer my questions. Zixuan knew very well that if Su Ruina got involved, her life would definitely be in danger. Moreover, his magical compatibility was very high, so Zixuan's brainwashing wouldn't work on her. And even if he told her all this, it wouldn't make Su Ruina his companion. Sorry, I can't tell you much yet. Knowing too much can put you in danger. I hope you can be understanding. Back in time, Kim Jae-yeon wants to apologize to Yi Hyeon for not being able to provide timely rescue. Zixuan also knew that as an instructor, she had to maintain order outside. It's okay. You didn't mean to put us in danger. I have to go first. Today is just too tiring. After experiencing life and death crises together, Zixuan immediately had an in-depth conversation with Su Ruina. Their feelings for each other quickly deepened, although Zixuan had already told Su Ruina the true face of Chairman Q Zion. However, Zixuan felt these things weren't enough to make Su Ruina his partner, but he didn't know that Su Ruina's feelings for him had long since changed. Can't you really tell me more about those things? Maybe similar things will happen again in the future. I believe you will keep our previous agreement. Before Su Ruina could say anything, Zixuan left alone. Instructor Jin Shiji, you really disappointed me this time. I'm sorry, Chairman. This time it was my negligence. As my most loyal subordinate, I can forgive you this once, but I would never leave useless people by my side. You know what I mean. Next time, I definitely won't let you down again. Instructor Jin Shiji, you'd better keep your word. Next time, I must tame this wild horse Ming Zixuan. Don't let my patience run dry, or you'll know the consequences. The scene shifts to Zixuan's suite. By now, he had already taken a shower and relaxed a bit. Looking at the combat suit he wore today, Zixuan couldn't help but fall into deep thought. In the world before he transmigrated, Jin Yaoqing died, and Haiyan hadn't even developed half of his abilities. To change all this, Zixuan must intervene in their lives, but Su Ruina is different from these two. Even without Zixuan, she can fully grow on her own. So Zixuan decided to be even more cautious next time he interacted with her. After all, Zixuan doesn't know what kind of changes she will bring to her future. But now, what matters more is to find out the relationship between Q Zion and the god Asa. After all, this dungeon is just the beginning. More dangerous situations will definitely arise in the future. To handle these situations, Zixuan must grow up immediately. Just as Zixuan was pondering these thoughts, he overheard a conversation on TV. Besides ordinary dungeons, this world also has other dungeons, such as themed dungeons. The way to clear these dungeons is different, and certain conditions must be met. If there's something special, it's that you can't quit midway when challenging themed dungeons. Hearing this, Zixuan suddenly stood up. He hurried over to the calendar to check what day it was. If it weren't for the TV reminder, he almost forgot this was the case. Players who challenge themed dungeons become characters within that theme, and to clear them, certain conditions must be met. Although the themed dungeons are much harder than regular ones, but the rewards they offer are often more powerful items. Practitioners all refer to these props as God's arrangements. This is also why practitioners are eager to challenge themed dungeons. The scene shifts to Jin Yaoqing and her family's dormitory. Sorry for making you worry. As long as you're safe and sound, that's enough. Zixuan's personality is just a bit annoying, and I was actually worried he might bully us. When we were together, he always annoyed me. Hearing this, Su Ruina was clearly a bit unhappy. Could it be that brat is really bullying you in the dungeon? No. It's Zixuan. He seems to trust you a lot. Su Ruina thought to herself that if only Zixuan could rely on her a little more. If only I could be a bit stronger. Seeing Su Ruichin like this, Jin Yaoqing felt very uncomfortable. Let's go eat something tasty, not that little kid Zixuan. Su Ruichin was a bit hesitant at first, but then he realized that Jin Yaoqing was only doing this to make himself happy. In the end, she opened her heart to Jin Yaoqing. According to reports, there is a special type of copy in the world called thematic copy. Upon entering the dungeon, not only cannot leave at any time, but they also become characters within the dungeon. You can only clear dungeons by meeting certain conditions, but this is the main dungeon that is far more difficult than the usual ones. Yet it still attracts countless practitioners to come and take it on, simply because the prizes for these copies are called God's arrangements. And soon, a themed dungeon will appear in a certain amusement park, and its reward is Tyrfie's thunderous stride, the speed-boosting boots once used by Thor's servant. Because it greatly greatly boosts agility. It became a highly sought-after item among all martial arts practitioners at the time. Previously, Zixuan had allocated all his talents to mana and endurance, which helped him maintain a balance across all his abilities. But before that, Zixuan needs to organize the rewards for this mission. Eden's Golden Apple is a mythic-grade consumable item that, when used, not only slows aging and enhances self-healing, but also increases stamina and mana by 20 points. These effects are enough to fetch a good price, but unfortunately, it's an exclusive item that cannot be traded. Fortunately, those effects were a real enhancement for Zixuan. Taking advantage of his improved stats, Zixuan decided to challenge a themed dungeon, so he dialed Liu Xing'an's number. Soon after, Zixuan arrived at the amusement park where themed dungeons appeared. Recalling the world before he transmigrated, the facilities here were indeed somewhat boring. "Hello, sir, may I ask what kind of ticket you would like?" Zixuan silently handed a card to the ticket window. "I am Ming Zixuan, a practitioner of the Lotus Guild. In a little while, the themed dungeon will appear here." Meanwhile, someone arrived downstairs at Zixuan's dormitory. "You said that classmate Zixuan has already gone out." "Yes, he came over last night to get a travel permit from me." Kim Jae-yeon didn't expect Yi Hyun to recover so quickly after what she went through. Keep in mind, he was still a freshman who had just started school. Not only is he exceptionally talented, but he also overcomes psychological trauma very quickly. Kim Jae-yeon began to involuntarily start paying attention to Zixuan. "When Ming Zixuan comes back, could you please ask him to come find me? I'll help you get it across. Thank you for your trouble." After finishing her business, Kim Jae-yeon left Yi Hyun's dormitory. Then he arrived at a corner of the campus. After confirming no one was following her, she took out her communication device. "I'm Kim Jae-yeon, team leader Song Jae-hee. Can you hear me? I can hear how your investigation is going." It was confirmed that the accident in this simulated instance was very special, personally orchestrated by Q Zion. This time, the overall person in charge is Jin Shiji, right? He should be in cahoots with Q Zion. Keep an eye on them and contact me promptly if there are any special situations. I understand. There's one more thing I want to report to you. The Ming Zixuan I mentioned to you before, he seems to know something. The boy simply said one sentence to the ticket seller. The once bustling amusement park was instantly emptied. Even now, the broadcast was still broadcasting emergency evacuation notices. Although Zixuan contacted Liu Xing'an for convenience, but he hadn't expected the Lotus Guild's name to be so good. However, Zixuan couldn't use the Lotus Guild's name without any reservations. For example, this time Liu Xing'an set a condition for Zixuan. "If danger occurs, you must put your own safety first. It's not that I don't believe in your strength, but what teacher wants their student to be in danger? After all, dungeons are unpredictable places." It was at this moment that a fantasy park with a themed dungeon turned into ruins appeared. Only by accepting and completing the 3 tasks here can you obtain Tyrefee's Thunderstride, which lasts a total of 24 hours. The reason Zixuan was able to find this place, this is because the previous Life's Clearer revealed the location of each stage. Her innate skill is accelerated thinking, which Su Yaxuan uses to flaunt everywhere every day, eventually dying due to jealousy and involvement in secret struggles. Because of this, Tyrefee's Thunderous Stride ultimately fell into others' hands. So rather than letting this item fall into someone else's hands, it's better to get it yourself first. With the hints from his previous life, Zixuan quickly found the first mission location. The first mission is the pirate ship, and Zixuan's task is to change the ending of the story. With a flash of light, Zixuan was teleported into the instance. But just after he left, a figure appeared at the pirate ship's door. Zixuan's first mission is to grudge Tyrefee. He will become the warrior Tyrefee, who survived the Viking invasion. Because Thor was interested in Tyrfee's speedy leg and wanted to recruit her as his subordinate, Thor ordered the kidnapping of Tyrfee's sister Rosgunwa as a hostage, hoping to rescue Rosgunwa while keeping the two alive. Ulfi was originally a mortal because his entire family died at the hands of the Vikings, so he deeply hated the god Asa worshipped by the Vikings. But this information was exactly the opposite of the stories Zixuan had read since childhood. He was curious whether this was also the difference between the Asa god system and the Norn system. Tyrfee, wake up. Zixuan, who had just crossed over to this world, was still a bit unaccustomed to it, but Zixuan's memories tell him that they have now taken the Viking ship and are preparing to rescue Rosgunwa. The man before him was Fedetik, the planner of the ship seizure. At that moment, the two boats suddenly collided. At this moment, the only ones still able to stand firmly on the deck were Zixuan and Fedetik, and they had long been surrounded by Viking ships. Countless Vikings jumped onto their decks, although he didn't know what the situation was now. But Zixuan could only put the search for Luo Sikan for a while. "Go hide quickly, leave this place to me." "Wait a moment, Tyrefee. It's impossible for you to be alone." Before he could finish, Zixuan jumped onto the enemy's boat, and here he saw something unexpected. The person playing the screw kunwa was actually Su Yaxuan. To achieve Tyrfee's thunderous stride, Zixuan used the name of the Lotus Flower Guild to clear out the entire amusement park. But he didn't expect that, in the first level of the themed dungeon, he met Su Yakshuan, who had cleared this dungeon in her previous life. He couldn't understand why something like this was happening. Moreover, Su Yakshuan's role in the dungeon is none other than Rashkanwa. Zixuan had no idea that Su Yakshuan's appearance here was completely accidental. 3 minutes before the broadcast was being broadcast to disperse the crowd, Su Yakshuan happened to enter the restroom. When he came out, he found the amusement park had actually turned into a themed dungeon. Even more tragic, everyone except him left early, so Su Yakshuan could only hope the strategy team would arrive soon. But before that, she still hoped to find someone who hadn't left like her. Unfortunately, it was then that she discovered Zixuan, who was preparing to clear the dungeon. So Su Yakshuan followed Zixuan all the way, until they reached the first level of the themed dungeon. Zixuan was also feeling a headache now. If someone else gets involved, that's one thing, but the one who entered the dungeon happened to be Su Yakshuan, who had cleared the game in her previous life. You fool, why don't you hide now? How dare you brazenly board the enemy ship? Let that foolish kid experience the power of a bow and arrow. Countless arrows instantly shot toward Zixuan, but Zixuan simply activated the magical barrier and knocked down all those attacks. Why do I always have some crazy people around me? Before he finished speaking, Zixuan activated his magical armor and charged forward. For a moment, only the enemy's screams could be heard on the deck. Although Zixuan's mind was in turmoil now, he tried to look on the bright side. Maybe bringing along the cunning Su Yakshuan would actually make it easier for him to clear the level. Since things had come to this point, Zixuan decided to bring her along and make full use of everything. Just then, a bald man suddenly charged over. Unfortunately, Zixuan dodged his attack with just a slight turn. Then he suddenly punched the burly man in the face. What Zixuan needed to do now was quickly deal with these people. Then he rescued Su Yakshuan and moved on to the next level. I don't have much time to mess around with you right now. Stop dawdling, you all go together. In the blink of an eye, Zixuan had eliminated all the enemies. Stop pretending to sleep, get up quickly. You are Rashkanwa. If you found out, then you must be Tirefee, right? That's right, but then again. Zixuan suddenly slammed his fist onto the mast. I know what you're up to. Don't try to be clever to test my limits. Su Yakshuan was so frightened that she didn't dare say a word and could only nod obediently. After rescuing Su Yakshuan, the two returned to their starting point. Zixuan sat in front of Su Yakshuan, staring at her. Seeing Zixuan remain silent, Su Yakshuan only dared to sit obediently. In her eyes, Zixuan is a magic-type practitioner with martial arts skills. Although he is about the same age as herself, his personality is quite annoying. Su Yakshuan couldn't understand how she had to run into such a strange person. What skill did you just say you were? My skills allow me to wield the sword more effectively. After all, very few people at Su Yakshuan's age have mastered the skills, so she thought she could just get by. Your skills probably aren't limited to just that one, right? I hate people lying to me. I'm not lying. This is a skill called basic swordsmanship correction. Let me guess, your skill should be called thinking acceleration. The girl, desperate for her life, follows the man into the dungeon. He thought he could successfully cling to a powerful figure, but the man's temper was unusually strained. He thought he could use his wits to deceive him. She never expected the man in front of her to even know his skills. Almost instantly, Su Yakshuan's last psychological defenses were shattered. It can instantly slow down the user's time, accelerating their thinking during this process. I don't think I'm wrong about the effect of your skills. Su Yakshuan really couldn't understand why Zixuan knew the purpose of her skills. Looks like I can't bring you along. You probably want to use me to clear this dungeon. There should be some limitation when looking down on others. After saying this, Zixuan turned and left. I was wrong, big brother. Everything you said is right. Please don't leave me alone. How do you want me to trust you? Right now, whatever you ask me to do, I'm fine. Really? Then let's sign the contract. Hearing this, Su Yakshuan was completely flustered. She hadn't expected Zixuan to have such a skill. After signing, Su Yakshuan was forbidden from doing anything to harm Zixuan and had to obey his orders until customs was cleared. The contract was also confidential, and Zixuan would protect her safety before the customs clearance. It turned out that this was a form of subordinate brainwashing, copied by Zixuan from Q Zion, allowing him to gain some control through signing contracts. For Zixuan, tame Su Yakshuan was the most effective tactic. At this point, Su Yakshuan had no choice but to sign the contract. The terms I offered were pretty good, didn't take away your mind. Of course, if you want to stay here alone, you can break the agreement at any time. I will work hard, and you must not leave me alone. Meanwhile, inside Hell's temple, it seems that little rebel is working really hard. The greedy Asir god's gazes grew increasingly sharp. If I leave, they'll definitely come and cause trouble. What should I do? Hearing this, Hell just chuckled lightly and didn't respond. Hull, be my eyes, and help me keep an eye on the growth of the rebels. We must buy some more time for the rebels to fully mature. The scene shifts to the themed dungeon. Su Yakshuan was very curious about where they would go next. The haunted house, we need to go there first. Seeing Su Yakshuan's reaction, Zixuan was a bit surprised. Are you scared? How could I be afraid? Where else would anyone be afraid of such things? It seems there's something here to be afraid of. I told you I'm not afraid. As long as you're not afraid, we're getting ready to go in. But Su Yakshuan's expression had long since betrayed her. Wait a minute, I'm too tired from walking. I need need to rest first. Unfortunately, the next second, the two were teleported to the second level. They need to leave the mansion without violating 3 rules. What role are you this time? I think I'm the photographer. What about you, brother? I seem to be an adventure streamer for haunted houses. It had been a long time since any customers came here. Hello, honored guests. My name is Alfred. He serves as the butler to Count Frandio, the owner of this mansion. Today, by order of the Count, I have come to receive you both. The second level of the themed dungeon was actually a gloomy, terrifying mansion. Zai Xuan became the haunted house adventure streamer, while Su Yakshuan became his personal photographer. They receive an invitation from Count Farandio, but a dark and despicable secret hides here. They must use cameras to record all the truths, uncover the secrets here, and escape. If successful, they will gain an active skill fantasy. If they fail to escape within the allotted time or uncover the mansion's secrets, the mission fails, and the punishment for failure is death. My name is Alfred, and I am the steward serving the owner of this mansion. Today, by order of the Count, I have come to receive you both. The Count instructed me to treat you both well. You two must be hungry after coming from afar. Let me take you both to the restaurant first. As soon as Zaichuan entered, he found a vase. It was written as a tribute to the most beautiful yet most foolish young lady. Seeing that he couldn't get any information, Zixuan started scanning his surroundings again. Wow, that painting is so beautiful. Following Su Yakshuan's gaze, the painting showed a little girl and a golden retriever. This is a portrait of the owner of the mansion, Frandio, and her beloved dog Sean. To have her portrait hang here, it seems her childhood memories hold special meaning for her. Of course, she retained many childhood memories. Those were memories as blissful as a dream. Seeing the butler's expression, the two of them felt a chill down their spines for a moment. Please don't touch anything. With that, the butler continued to lead the way for the two of them. Zaichuan knew he had to pull himself together now. The previous mission hinted at the cause and effect of the events, but now it's different. All the events and secrets here must be explored by Zixuan personally. Are you okay? You just said you're not afraid of ghosts, but it turns out it was all a lie. I'm just not used to it yet. Give me some time to adjust. At that moment, the butler walking ahead suddenly stopped. This is the place. This is the dinner prepared by Count Frandio for everyone. Please enjoy your meal, and I will come again after everyone finishes eating. After saying this, the butler closed the door and left. The two knew very well that this meal was definitely not to be eaten. Let's hurry and check out somewhere else while the butler isn't around. Before that, we need to get some intelligence here. Then Su Yakshuan activated her skill to accelerate her thinking. In almost an instant, her eyes scanned the information of every item in the room. Then she handed over this information to her brain for analysis. I already know some things about this mansion. Although Zixuan was surprised, he still pretended to be calm. Then tell me, the owner of this mansion was likely a child, quite petite. The chairs and the reception room are clues. The chair the host sits on is higher than the others. This means the mansion owner is much shorter than the others. The cabinets in the reception room are all very low, and only the handles have dust accumulated underneath. After Su Yakshuan said this, Zixuan also understood why he always felt something was off. Then let's go elsewhere to look at gathering intelligence. That said, this camera is quite expensive. It would be great if she could take her out. Weren't you supposed to go out? Why are you just standing there? Now is not the time for casual chatting. We are locked up here. The girl is a super genius, with an IQ as high as 150. She only needed to glance at the room. This allows you to infer the characteristics of the homeowner. Zixuan thought he could easily pass with Su Yakshuan's intelligence, but unexpectedly, they were locked up in the restaurant. By now, 2 hours had passed since the main dungeon appeared. The entrance of the amusement park was already surrounded by reporters and staff. Because it was a themed copy, rescuers could only wait outside. I'm about to get promoted, and I didn't expect such a mess to happen. Who would have thought that a themed dungeon would suddenly appear in the amusement park? Just wait, public reviews will definitely lower our ratings. Even if you were just promoted because of the goblin incident, you might get demoted this time. Looks like we're going to take the blame again. Let's first verify the information about the two people who got dragged into it. Park Kyung-hoon was stunned when he saw the message. It was simply because the Lotus Guild attendee who entered the instance was Ming Zixuan. Park Kyung-hoon had heard that Yi Hyan had already gone to Murai's academy for further studies, but he didn't expect Zixuan to join the Lotus Guild so quickly. What happened? Could it be that the ones caught up aren't 2 but 3? No, maybe this time, the themed dungeon will be successfully cleared. Although they had only met once, Yi Hyan's formidable strength had already left a deep impression on Park Kyung-hoon. Meanwhile, inside the theme copy, upon learning she was locked up, Su Yakshuan's mood hit rock bottom. If we spend our whole lives locked here and never get out. Calm down, this is a dungeon. There must be a way out. There's no dungeon in the world you can't get out of, right? I'll go check on the situation over there. Zixuan could sense that the owner of the mansion didn't seem very friendly to them. Although Zixuan could force his way through the door, but in her previous life, Su Yakshuan could clear the level alone. This means that this level doesn't require much skill, so there must be some hidden information. Brother, come over and take a look at this. This camera seems a bit strange. If you keep causing a stir. But the moment Zixuan saw the camera, he froze in place. place. It turned out the footage on the camera was filled with blood. The butler who just led us was fake. At this moment, the system sent a notification. The first mystery of the mansion, Alfred's secret, 70% achieved. This shows that Zexuan and the others have already started to get back on track. It seems this camera can capture things invisible to the naked eye. So he specifically added the role of cameraman. This camera is the key to solving the mystery. At first, Zexuan was curious about how Su Yaxuan managed to clear the level so timidly, but now it seems he was still very calm while thinking. The key now is what exactly the camera captures. If that Alfred is fake, then the scenes in the picture should be either the past or the present. What you said makes a lot of sense. Since the dungeon is meant to uncover the mansion's secrets, there's no reason to show what will happen in the future. And these physical items are all real. This means the footage captured by the camera reflects the mansion's past. The Manchuhan banquet used by the Count to entertain guests. But when filmed with a camera, it turned into Alfred's corpse. For a moment, Su Yaxuan was almost scared to tears. So the food on the table, at least not for us to enjoy. Zexuan suddenly thought of something. To test his suspicions, he threw the camera to Su Yaxuan. Since earlier, Zexuan had been sensing a faint magical aura, so he guessed that everything here was just fantasy. Magic occasionally used to set traps in the dungeon. Zexuan then planned to use absolute calculation to break the magic here. But surprisingly, the absolute calculation seemed to be interfered with and failed to activate. Zexuan guessed it might be because of the themed dungeon. At that moment, he noticed Su Yaxuan lying on the ground, seemingly searching for something. It turned out Su Yaxuan guessed that the mechanism that opened the door might have been hidden. In front of us was food, and the camera captured Alfred. This is the only difference. Judging by the current situation, the clue to escape must be here. Hearing Su Yaxuan's analysis, Zexuan immediately had a clue. He immediately activated another skill, magic perception. Sure enough, I could feel a wave of magical energy on the pudding. Fundamentally, sealing magic requires attaching itself to something else or operating it. To break this spell, you just need to clear any items or formulas attached to him. The key to leaving here is inside that pudding. Hearing this, Su Yaxuan fell silent because of that position. It was none other than Alfred's head. "Are you scared now? I don't have it, I'll go." As she spoke, Su Yaxuan rolled up her sleeves and reached out to Pudding. After some searching, he finally found the key. They had no idea that Alfred was silently watching the two of them at this moment. It seems the guests are not satisfied with the meals I prepared. Hosting guests must never be neglected, isn't it? As the butler, I will never let the Count down. Meanwhile, Zexuan and the others had already left the restaurant. Su Yaxuan kept observing her surroundings through the camera all along the way. Every scene on camera was a complete mess. But at that moment, Zexuan, who was walking ahead, stopped in his tracks. This seems to be a guest room for guests. Since they were entertaining guests after dinner, the next step should be to go to the guest room. And the bloodstains happen to point here, so there should be no other choice. Let's go to our respective rooms first and look for clues. Do we really want to go in? We want to clear the level. Do you want to be locked here for the rest of your life? Shut up and search the guest room thoroughly. If anything happens, call me immediately. And so the two each entered their own rooms. Aside from being especially eerie, there didn't seem to be anything unusual in the room. Looks like I'll have to look for more clues. Zexuan had no idea that a long dress appeared behind him at that moment. Sensing something was wrong, Zexuan immediately turned to look. The girl, like the portrait at the door, has long golden hair. Just then the girl suddenly raised her hand and pointed at Zexuan. It turned out Alfred had already quietly stood behind Zexuan. To find clues to leave the dungeon, the two decide to split up. Before leaving, Zexuan specifically reminded Su Yaxuan to be careful. But surprisingly, it was actually Zexuan who was attacked first. In a daze, Zexuan felt a red shadow in front of him. Startled, Zexuan suddenly opened his eyes. "Brother, are you awake now? My head still hurts, keep your voice down." Although Zexuan anticipated the possible attack, he didn't even get a chance to act. He guessed this might also be part of the dungeon's storyline. I used my mind to quickly check the situation here. There is a lot of moss here, and the air is extremely humid. And everywhere you look, traces of interrogation can be seen. It must be an underground prison. Why would such a place exist in the Count's mansion? It was truly chilling. That means the key must be hidden somewhere here. Before he finished speaking, Zexuan suddenly threw a punch at the prison iron gate. Fortunately, he had just used the silencer, which didn't draw the butler over. Let's try to act as quietly as possible. If Alfred notices, it would be troublesome. And if you have time to talk nonsense, you'd better think about how to escape from here. Just then, Zexuan suddenly heard a dog bark. A chubby little dog suddenly lunged into Zexuan's arms. Zexuan was very curious about why there were puppies in prison, and the puppy was even holding the key in its mouth. Put that dog down quickly. It doesn't have any magic power, just an ordinary puppy. Judging by the little creature holding a key, it must be locked up here too. The dungeon wouldn't hand us the key so easily. The puppy might be a trap. Sensing Su Yaxuan's malice, the puppy immediately let out a whimpering sound. Su Yaxuan was also startled by the puppy and took a step back. At this moment, a new quest appeared. They now had to go to the 4th floor of the mansion and read Count Frandio's diary. diary in his room. The reward for this level was to remove the skill restrictions from the themed dungeon. For Zixuan, the importance of this reward goes without saying. This also suggests that the diary must be closely related to the secrets here. And so, the two and the dog set out again on their journey to find clues. We have now reached the 4th floor, but this mansion is too large, and I have no idea what to do next. The camera was taken away too, so it seems we'll have to search room by room. However, Zixuan did not answer Su Yaxuan. Brother, why did you suddenly stop talking? It's so scary. Su Yaxuan followed Zixuan's gaze. Behind them appeared the girl who had prompted Zixuan. Her blonde hair was so striking. Zixuan was just about to ask him, "Let's go, now is not the time to chat with the ghost." Unexpectedly, Zixuan shook Su Yaxuan aside. "Why are you still here? Is it because he harbors resentment toward this mansion?" Hearing Zixuan's words, the girl shook her head. "So are you here to help us?" This time, the girl nodded. "Let me ask you a question. Where is Frandio's room on the 4th floor?" The girl still didn't say anything, just quietly raised her hand, and the direction he pointed was clearly behind Zixuan. "I see, thank you. Just wait, if there's a chance, I'll definitely perform a ritual for you." As she was leaving, Su Yaxuan glanced back at the girl again, but the girl's figure had long since disappeared. Just as Song Jai-hee was about to be promoted, a themed dungeon actually appeared in the amusement park, just when I thought promotion was out of reach. But the Lotus Guild came knocking on their own. "So you mean the Lotus Guild will be responsible for this themed dungeon?" "That's right, and the National Curiosity Hunters Association is criticizing the public opinion and the criticism of the Civil Council. Our Lotus Labor Union will be responsible for resolving it. However, Chairman Liu Xingen hopes that you will not disclose any information about Ming Zixuan. It's hard to understand why the Lotus Guild would make such a big move for a student still studying at Millet Academy. I'm not comfortable telling you the detailed reason. Anyway, it's not a bad thing for us, so let's go along with the Lotus Union's proposal. But if you fail to clear the dungeon, you don't need to worry about this, especially if he can't even clear this kind of dungeon. The Lotus Union never intervened from the start." At the same time, the screen returned to the main dungeon. Zixuan easily dealt with the monsters blocking his way. As far as I know, Nether Cage is a C-rank magical beast. This path is a shortcut, just a few magical beasts, and dealing with them is a breeze. And so, the two of them and the dog entered Frandio's room. Unlike other parts of the mansion, even without cameras, this place feels especially messy. "Then I'll start looking from the desk. It's obvious there's information we need. Go check other locations that might be hiding clues first." "All right, I'll go check out other places first." And so, Zixuan brought the puppy to the desk. When he picked up the thick book on the desk, the system prompted him to obtain Count Ferrandio's diary. Without hesitation, Zixuan immediately opened the diary. "On May 7, 1474, my skin grew increasingly pale. The doctors in the territory had come many times to treat me, but none seemed to work. Am I supposed to never be allowed to go out and have to wait for death like this? On May 10, 1474, my parents said they wanted to buy me the doll I had always wanted. My father and mother were indeed the best. In 2 days, they would return from the neighboring city, and I felt that even the waiting time was joyful. On May 12, 1474, I was attacked and killed by criminals. The tragic news brought me endless tears. If I hadn't asked my parents to buy me that doll, would they have survived? After my parents' funeral ended, as the only bloodline of the Ferrandio Count family, I became the owner of this mansion. But I couldn't feel happy at all. I became all alone, and from then on, I would always be. July 4, 1474. Today, the servant caught a young girl. She secretly broke a lily in the mansion. She was about my age and looked very much like my doll, so I was very satisfied with her and wanted her to stay with me in this mansion. On July 20, 1474, the girl said she had no name, so I named her Sari. We played together in the mansion every day, and I was very happy. I finally made friends. I wished these days could last forever. On September 8, 1474, Alfred left without a word. Saley said he looked anxious, as if he had gone to the neighboring village, and for some reason he felt a bit uneasy. On September 10, 1474, although Alfred had returned, I still felt he was different from before. It seems Selly is hiding something from me too. Something must have happened. On November 9, 1474, wailing echoed continuously outside the room. It was the kitchen lady Sarana, and made Mitcher screaming. Saley and Alfred are knocking on my door now. They must be trying to silence me. What should I do? After reading these diaries, Zixuan finally understood the whole story. It turned out that Frandio had been killed from the very beginning. The one who did these things was probably the magical beast that forcibly occupied the mansion. If Zixuan guessed correctly, the culprit was the living ghost. The second challenge, Su Yaxuan, who has always accompanied Zixuan in solving puzzles. It turned out to be the culprit behind this instance, the living ghost. Since all the mansion's secrets had been uncovered, Zixuan's current task was to escape safely. The living ghost transformed into countless tentacles, attacking Zixuan. Unexpectedly, Zixuan dodged all these attacks. Because he had recognized her identity early on, Zixuan was actually on guard. You finally show your true face. Still wondering how long you're going to keep disgusting me. After After all, my patience is about to reach its limit. Humans didn't expect such quick reactions. Actually, it's not that difficult. It's just that I'm smarter. Wait, maybe it's because you're too stupid. You despicable human. Today I will kill you here. But now, Xuan has already lifted the skill restrictions. In almost an instant, countless chains of lightning appeared around him. It pierced through the body of the living ghost. The next second, lightning illuminated the entire hall. The living ghost is a B-level magical beast with the ability to copy others' bodies and skills. But in terms of combat power alone, he can only be considered a C-rank monster. I want to devour your body. I want to take your life away. After saying that, the living ghost charged toward Xuan. But just a second before touching Xuan, the living ghost's tentacles stopped. It turned out the lightning chains had already tightly bound him. What does it feel like to try to fool others, only to be fooled instead? The next second, several chains of lightning struck at the living ghost again. I'm so jealous, I'm so jealous. Human, I want a human life too. As the dust slowly cleared, the living ghosts were also taken down by Xuan. You're quite good at barking. Looking at it this way, you seem to have some potential to be a dog. But since you brought the key, we'll let it go this time. As Xuan was about to leave, he looked back again. In the center of the hall, a little girl with golden hair appeared. Farandio was there waving goodbye to them. I've done what I promised you. Goodbye. A flash of light flashed by, and Xuan and the others withdrew from this stage.